Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
Welcome back to another episode of the Paperweights. I'm your host, Brandon.
And Justin.
Welcome back, Justin. Feels like we read an entire book this week.
It does. There's a hefty section with a lot of stuff happening.
A lot of stuff. So
we had a mid-book Sanderlanche.
Yes. It was a good Sanderlanche. It was exciting. Get to see some more stuff in action.
Yeah.
So this might be a long episode. It definitely won't be a short one. So we'll go ahead and dive into it. But first things first, we are sponsored by Mudcat Whiskers, which is a local Louisiana beard care product company. Nick does this in addition to other things, but he makes awesome beard care products. He makes beard oils, beard balms, beard butters, washes, conditioners, and even candles, scented candles, and they smell amazing. So if you would like to get yourself or a loved one some nice beard products to keep their beard nice and soft and awesome looking like mine is, then head on over to their website, www.mudcatwhiskers.com, and use code Paperweights at checkout, and you will save yourself 15%. All right. So we'll start off with the epigraphs this week, and I know you've always you wish the epigraphs were more substantial and had something to do with what's going on in the current book. And I think this one fell in line with that a little bit more, as we found out at the end of part 2, that our cast of characters discovered a cache of vinyl records in the walls inside of Urithiru. And the epigraphs in part 3 are some of those recordings. I feel like they might be like audio recordings. Is it?
Yeah, they would be like audio logs, basically.
Yeah.
From a video game.
Yeah.
There's ever a Stormlight video game, he already has the audio logs recorded. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, so some interesting things. I kind of just read through them. They're stored on different colored gemstones, and so I kind of got the sense that like each color kind of represented one of the orders there.
yeah, I can see that.
I couldn't place some of them, so I got like Stone Ward. There were some where it was recorded and that person admitted what order they were in. So those are easy to assign. Stone Wards were the topaz, Truth Watchers were the emeralds, Elts Callers are zircon, and I'm attributing sapphires to Windrunners. There was one of the sapphires that I dove and flew off of the tower for my last time. So it was definitely either Skybreakers or Windrunners, and I'm going to go with Windrunners simply because Sapphire is blue, and I think of Windrunners as being blue. Syl is definitely a blue chick. So
yeah.
But yeah, we get to learn some things about the previous generation. I assume it's the previous generation and not just like multiple previous generations of Radiance.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of telling around the secrets of what they did to the Parshendi and like the Recreants, basically.
Yeah.
It seems like from that, like there was like an unmade that was with the Persian, and they wanted to like separate the unmade from the Persian, and they like accidentally trapped him in that form. At least that's what I got from it.
Yeah, so yeah, there was definitely a unmade mention there that was its name was Ba'ado Mishram or whatever. And one of the things said it provided the storm or sorry, provided void light and forms of power to the Parsh. They called them the Parsh back in that day. Um, and it was interesting because this one's not odium, but it said it was like odium had done before. Um, so interesting, like we're getting hints in here, not just from odium himself, but other places that it seems, and it's kind of in common with um the theme of like morality can be gray like in certain situations here. um so there's definitely some ideas that odium is not just pure evil that that's been coming about. Do you feel that same way? Like,
Yeah, I mean, so we only really had like honor his perspective, and now we're starting to get more Odium perspective. I mean, it does seem like the unmade are evil, but maybe they also that one that talked to Shalon said she's like not of Odium, so maybe they've been corrupted as well or something. I don't know. I think there's probably a different story behind them and their factions or whatever.
yeah, I'm
So
interested to find out more.
I do think the fused are pretty evil though.
They definitely seem to be pretty damn evil.
Like those are probably the like antagonists right now. And if they come from Odium, like Odium's probably not good, but I guess we'll get to see more
Yeah,
about that.
I definitely think he is the bad guy, but I think there are some, he has one, I don't think it's entirely his fault. It's just that part of the god that is whatever. And when you separate those things into individual parts, there's no checks and balances. But I gotta feel that he's just a force of nature, which is like passion or emotions, and we'll see that we see that throughout this section, like with the revel and the cult of moments,
Yeah,
um, and the voices that go speak to Shalon in her point of view. Uh, a couple other things we do get the information that the fourth ideal is the one that grants armor,
yeah.
and that is the epigraph on chapter 86. So cool there. We have some people that are getting close to the fourth ideal.
So
Um,
everybody has the third one, right?
uh,
Third one gives sharp blade,
yeah, the third one gives the shard blade.
and
So
there's five total ideals.
yes,
But
five ideals. So I
I think
want I
it's
want to know what the fifth and final form is.
yeah,
Perfect Frieza, perfect Cell,
golden Frieza.
golden Frieza. There we go.
Yeah,
Uh, and then this idea of perfect gems has come up in the epigraphs, and that's something that interests me. Like, what the hell is that? What do they do? And the ruby is named Honor's Drop. Um, and those perfect gems, I don't remember, or I don't know if you remember in one of the previous books, one of the well, in this one, Hoyd and Wit was called the keeper of the gem or something, the first gem, and it kind of has. I feel like they're all connected there. Um, so yeah, and I think gemstones are Roshar's metals, like from Scadrial.
I could
Uh,
see that.
but why they don't why they wouldn't exist on the other planets and operate the same way? Um, I guess is associated with the shards that are on those planets.
Yeah, I could see that. we do kind of not through this, but kind of through this book. I think I know what the black sphere that Gavilar had was. I think it was probably an unmade.
An unmade.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of feel I got the feeling so around the time where we it was discovered that Aesudan was being corrupted,
yeah,
um, and that she has taken in a gem heart. Like I don't I didn't go back and reread the description, but it seemed like the gem heart has now taken place, it has
yeah,
taken residence inside of her.
yeah.
Um,
It's pretty gnarly.
and so when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I feel like now Gavilar might have been corrupted by an unmade
Could
and was
be.
seeing that influence there and was telling him like, hey, bring back the gods, bring back the Parshendi gods.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would he care? Like the humans had been, I mean, sure, they didn't have as much power as before, but they were definitely the power race.
Well, he wanted to bring back. I mean, the Sons of Honor want to bring back the heralds and the Church of Vorinism. Um,
Yeah,
so
but because of power, right?
I don't know. He could be a true believer.
Hmm.
Like if he was getting the visions from Honor, which would make him super religious and create the Sons of Honor, makes sense. But he also could be corrupted. I think it's a little bit more interesting if it's like if he wasn't corrupted and just kind of had these crazy theological views that kind of corrupted him in a different way.
I could see that. Yeah.
Shit. But yeah, I think the Black Sphere was probably an unmade. I don't know if it's the one that Acidane got, but it was one of them. You know, captured inside a Gem Heart,
Yeah.
which is
All right.
fun.
Yep. All right, let's dive into the chapters then.
Right. So much shit happens in this
Yes.
fucking section. Chapter 48. All right. Burdens.
58.
58. What did I say? 78?
You
Whatever.
said
Book
48.
48. We're all over the place. But 58 is Burdens. It's a Dalinar Kholin chapter. Um he's by the Oath Gate to go to Thaylen City. And he's still seems so long ago, but he's worried about like Odium invading his dreams and shit. He's like, ah. And then yeah, he's talking with Navani and she's like, yeah, maybe it was like part of the vision already. And she's like, no, it was real. It was pretty crazy. And then Oathgate pops open with Shallan and Kaladin. They successfully rode the High Storm all the way and unlock the Oathgate. Um, and then they're also able to now just transfer the control room instead of the entire platform. So they're getting better at controlling the Oath Gates. Um yeah, so the yep. Um oh yeah, Dalinar is like, I found you some land. You're now like a lander now. He's Calvin's like, okay, all right, let's see if the world ends, and then I'll figure out what to do with that. Um, yeah, and then
Like
they
probably the thing he's least worried about.
yeah, he's like, sure, all right, cool. And then they basically go to Thalen City, and it's very messed up by the high storm.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, there's so much shit happened in this section, so many chapters that like revisiting this, I'm like, oh, this happened this week.
Yeah,
Okay.
this feels like it happened. I read this like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Um, yeah, in the Stormfather is actually feeling like very rattled at having
Yeah,
met Odium in the last vision as well. So he's kind of just like whimpering in the corner of not Odium, Dalinar's mind, kind of.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, we get it's pointed out here, like so obviously. Dalinar's like, well, Elhokar still hasn't made the announcement of him um, of
Being
him wanting Dalinar to become High King and him swearing allegiance to the High King. And of course, now we know at the end of this set part, Elhokar dies. So, and he still hasn't made that announcement. So I wonder if that's going to become problematic. Um, Possibly let Taravangian slide into a
yeah,
that
you'd
position.
think he would have done it before he left, but it wasn't on the page. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like it made a point here that Dalinar's like Elhokar still hasn't made this announcement, and we don't see it on page. And it would have been a pretty big thing to have on page, right?
Yeah, it would have been.
Um, but I mean here, so let's think about it. Why wouldn't it be on page? Was there not a character that we had a point of view of in the area when he made the announcement? And I don't think that's feasible
No.
because somebody in our cast of characters would have been around that we've had a POV of for
Yeah, you would have like Adolin be like, "Man, I can't believe my dad's gonna be hiking," or something like that. Yeah, it didn't happen. It was just a kind of a Elhokar being dumb.
but Dalinar would have been there. Like
Yeah, yeah. No, no. What it should, you just think they would have done it before launching a really dangerous infiltration mission. But oh well. Yeah. I wonder who's gonna rule Althkar now. But I guess we'll get to that later.
well, well, no, they
I
didn't
guess
rescue Gavinar.
no. I mean, I guess it's just the Parshindy because they kind of actually rule right now. But we'll get to that. Um, got anything in this chapter?
Nope, that's it.
All right. 58 Bondsmith. All right. Stalnar. Um, he's touring like Thalen City. It's very messed up. They're doing what the Saints did with Sean Payton. They're bringing him around to the less messed up parts of the city, so you can see all the temples and stuff instead of all the destruction, which is what the Saints did with Sean Payton after Katrina. Um, Tarabanjan's there as well. He's like giving him he wants to send like his surgeons to help, and she eventually relents and has this surgeons brought and stuff like that. But yeah, Dalinar's just going around and like seeing all the destruction. Is this the chapter? Yeah, yeah. He basically confronts her son, Queen Finn's son, into a challenge and just gets like run through the stomach with a sword. And he's just like, "What's up? I'm a radiant. I can't die." And the son's like, "Holy shit, that's crazy." Then he kind of just runs around and he fixes a statue, and it's really cool. He can like do stuff with the rock, not actual rock, but rocks. Um, he repairs this broken statue.
I mean,
Um,
he's not friends with uh Dwayne Johnson,
Dwayne Johnson or uh,
Alcatraz.
yeah, or the Rock, yeah. Or I was thinking I forgot Rock's actual name now.
Oh yeah, him.
Layman
Lunamore.
Lunamore, yeah. Um, yeah, and then she's like, he, he, like, you get Renarin comes, he starts healing people, surgeons are healing people, he's sending troops to aid. She's like, she basically joins the coalition and she's like, we're now buddy buddy.
Yeah, it was fun seeing Dalinar use his radiant powers in this chapter. Um, it was just very heartwarming and a sense of unification
Yeah.
of people, and the fact that the Stone Spren are basically like started talking to him like unite us, like we're broken, unite us, and he's like, oh. I could do this. And then he looks around and he goes, "Oh wait, I could. We can fix people too. Not me, but bring Renar in here and let's do this."
Yeah.
So I like it. It didn't come across, and Dalinar didn't think this, but it totally outshined Taravangian's um offer to bring his surgeons in and heal. And Dalinar's like, basically, he came up, he's like, sit down, Taravangian, watch this shit happen. So,
Yeah.
and then seeing Taravangian just like his emotional side because he's just an average person um on this day apparently, and he's just super sad about humanity being in crumbles here.
Yeah. Um, yeah. It was interesting hearing him talk with the spread and where it's like because he doesn't his order doesn't have soul casting, but what he did was somewhat akin to soul casting. Um, so it's fun. It was fun.
Well, I mean, he bonded them, right?
Yeah,
He adhered them together.
true.
So, yeah. I mean,
But
you
like I don't. But like Kaladin's never heard the sprint of. I guess he hasn't really tried to make rocks together or whatever.
right, but I also think that his works differently, even though and we've gotten hints of this before. Like Stormfather has said you need to use a certain power, although yours is different than um another order. I think his the bondsmith shares one with Stone Wards as well.
I
I
think
think
so.
that or Dustbringer, one of those two. Um, so I don't think it's the adhesion one that he's using to heal the rocks. I think it's the other one.
Okay, that makes sense because when adhesion would the stormlight would run out, it would just collapse. So
Yeah.
he's doing something else. But yeah, it was cool. Um,
It's almost like he's convincing them and coaxing them into
yeah, like
coming back together.
yeah,
Basically a healing process. Like stem cells. He's providing stem cells for the rocks.
yeah. It's just interesting that because the only power we've seen that has actually talked to Spren is soul casting. So we get another one, which is fun.
Yeah.
All right. Unless you got anything else.
Nope.
Oh yeah. Just seeing the destruction of the storms just reminds us of hurricane damage and stuff like that, and it's crazy because this city is devastated, and it's very sad.
Yeah. Does have a connection for us, especially um, since we live in a hurricane prone area. So
Yes. We can move on to chapter 60, Winds and Oaths. This is a Kaladin POV. So Kaladin is using the high storm to fly with Elhokar and all of them, Adolin and Shallan. They're going to Kolinar. The mission is starting. Uh, he is scouting the city because they basically get to Kolinar and they kind of like slow down and kind of like looking. He sees that there's still a Lethi flag, so the city has not fallen. Um, uh, they want to basically Elhokar wants to go there directly and just like pop in, but he's like, we should like scout it out first. This seems kind of weird. So they're basically gonna be disguises and go into the city as like refugees. That's kind of the chapter.
yep. I mean, it's a short chapter. There was one thing that really stood out to me that I really liked. Shallan it, hits us with a little bit of philosophy here and says, "You learn more from bad art than you do from good art, as your mistakes are more important than your successes." So, like, if you can turn a mistake into like a new technique. And I heard somebody talking about this recently, but they were like, if you can turn a mistake into a new technique or something, a new fad or trend, then you've really like that's when you are like a trendsetter or you've succeeded a whole lot at your craft that you've what's the word I'm looking for?
Innovated.
Yeah, innovated, but you've like ascended into like an upper echelon of whatever it is that you've done. But if you're always just like, you're not making mistakes, then you're living in a very safe zone and not like growing. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. So it's nothing new. So I really like that one. And then the funny thing is, Syl has pointed out to Kaladin that she notices that he keeps stealing looks at Shallan. And then also later in this chapter, throughout this chapter, it's like Vale likes Kaladin, but Shallan and Radiant are, all about, or Radiant mostly is all about Adolin.
Yeah.
And Shallan's kind of like the one in the middle is like, I don't have time for any romance.
Yeah. Yeah, because Shalon is insane.
Yeah, she's crazy. But she's kind of OP. I think she's the most OP um of the Radiants so far.
Yeah. I mean, not in combat wise, but yeah, everything else. She's the RP queen of um the Radiance.
That cannot die.
Well, none of them would die.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Dalinar got stabbed through this chest with a sword. He's just like, "What's up? We're cool."
Yeah, I wonder if they could heal a Radiant or sorry, a shard blade cut on the neck, or if that would be too much. Because I know like in Mistborn, the ones that can burn metals and heal, like if they have a high enough reserve, like they can survive it's like multiple knife wounds or like gunshots,
Yeah.
explosions. So I wonder if the radiant powers or surges are that powerful.
I mean, Shalon gets shot in the head with an arrow and can still invest. So, yeah, it's pretty powerful.
That one was pretty funny because she's just like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
because she has an arrow in her head. And just like, yeah, your brain's like messed up.
but you're still alive until
Yeah.
we take that arrow shaft out of your head, and then you can fully heal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep, we can move on.
Yep. 61, we get a cool map of Kolinar.
But
Um,
it doesn't tell us where the tailor shop is unless it's in the market row. Is it in the market row? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Like it totally should have had a plot on there that says Taylor's house.
Yeah, would have been nice.
But then again, I don't know why. It's supposedly an in-world map, so
Uh,
the Taylor's house wouldn't be important for anybody to mark unless it was Shalon's map. Unless this was a map that they were using.
yeah,
But then again, they still wouldn't want to mark it in case it got into somebody's hands. But if it's inside the house, then I don't think it would matter because in order for somebody to steal it from inside the house, as long as they didn't take it outside of the house, it would be safe to mark the safe house on the map.
true.
Like
What?
if it was printed, if it was drawn on the wall in the safe house, it's okay to mark the safe house.
Yeah. What is interesting, it has the temples and it has all 10 of the heralds because you know how the statues are always missing a person. We got all 10
Yeah.
temples, so I don't know. Which is good to have all the heralds' names because I don't remember them all.
Yeah, are these the nicknames?
Yes, he has
Those
a
are their full names, yeah. Not
Nolan, Rush, whatever.
Shauna Ranarach,
Yeah.
Shauna Ranach,
Sure.
Vedeledev, Halia, Shalash, Bata Kalak, Talanat, Ishi.
Yeah.
I probably like butchered a lot of those, but
Yeah. When yeah, all right. But yes, chapter 61. Nightmare Made Manifest. This is a Kaladin POV. All right, they are camping outside the city, kind of observing uh what's happening. The Parshindi, as we've seen before, are allowing refugees into the city to drain the resources before they come in and murk everybody. Um, Shallan disguises everybody. She has fun with Kaladin, disguises him as like a really ugly wizened man, which is funny. Uh,
she also makes Adolin a hot older man,
yeah,
and then
and
makes Elokar.
Elokar a woman because his haughty attitude kind of is reminiscent of a light-eyed woman, which is really funny. Um, let's see. They go to they start going to the city. And Elokar is kind of all he's self-doubting again. He charges Caitlin Kaladin to get his wife and kids safe if he should fail. To get to the Oathgate.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, yes. Um, yes, Adolin is like, hey, all right, we need a safe place to go. I know a place. Um, and so basically they get in. Elokar is like tends to be a light-eyed woman and kind of just like berates people when they let him inside. Um, we get to hear about this mysterious High Marshal Azure. Hmm. Um,
A very colorful person.
yes, very helpful person. They're kind of like bargaining to get inside when the fuse attacked and like they basically like rush him. Um, and then yes, they enter and they go towards the safe house, and this is where we start seeing people dressed up as Spren, and it's very weird. There's like a parade of people cosplaying as Spren, um, and then we also see that the regular Spren, are like corrupted and weird looking. Um, then they get to their tailor shop, which is going to be their safe house for this entire section.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. That's So I at first I thought um that the there were a lot of people wearing all white with strips of cloth that streamed and fluttered as they moved. That description there made me think of Warbreaker. So I thought there might be like a whole bunch of people from that planet here. But then like that description never came up again. And that led into the description of people dressed as Spren. So feel like they were the same group.
Yeah, don't we find out that those are Swift Spren?
Uh,
Because all the like the streaming white behind.
I don't know. I thought Swift Spren was the nickname
That's
that
the nickname for her, but she has like, doesn't she have something with like the white tassels or whatever? I don't know.
yeah, I don't recall.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
had to look later. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
there's probably Swift Spren, but I don't remember. Um, but world-wise, Kaladin is like he notices strata on the wall in Kolinar, and he thinks they look similar to like the tunnels in Urithiru. So kind of wonder if they could be related.
Well, this is a whatever town, right?
Are those
Where
symmetrical towns?
yeah, um,
Is it?
yeah, it's one of those towns. I forgot what the origin towns or some shit from book one.
Yeah, yeah, keep going. I'll
But
forgot.
because Urither was also supposedly one of those who just didn't have the like the sound for it. That was one of the Yazin was talking to Castball about it.
Yeah.
Um, I forgot the name of them, but yeah. So it makes sense that those towns, since they're so like important, they're like one of the they'd be made by the ancient Radiants or Heralds or whatever. And like those are the towns that they come back to like repopulate the world after each tessellation.
Okay. That was confirmed?
No, it's just
Oh,
me conjecting. But
oh,
but there's what, seven of them or eight of them, something like that. I forget the name of them.
I'm trying to find it. But that's not. It's weird in the first book, there's on my Kindle, they don't have the little clicks for all the um illustrations inside. Like Oathbringer, there is actually when I click on the little contents to go through,
Yeah,
like it'll say like Shalon sketchbook, and I can click on it. It brings me to that image. But in the first book, it doesn't. So let's see. Map of four cities. So there were four cities. And yes, Kolinar was one, Vedinar, Akina, and Thalen City are four. And I'm pretty sure Urithiru would be five.
yeah. She was like, there was like like we haven't discovered Urithuru's thing, and Castle was like, that's because that's a mythical city that doesn't exist or whatever. Um, but there was like supposedly missing sounds or whatever that they were looking for.
No, and this is we saw Akina in one of the past interludes, and so that's kind of the island city there. So this is Vadenar. This one is Thalen City, and then Kolinar at the bottom right here.
It
So
is that is where we're at. Yeah, it's cool.
yep. So
But yeah, I can.
yeah,
But and we see that like there's like ancient tunnels and stuff all throughout. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a cool city. Yeah. This chapter's fun. I like the throughout all this all the Kolinar stuff. You really get the sense of like the city under siege
oh
and
yeah,
like, kind
absolutely.
of the desperation everybody has and everything, which is cool because sometimes that can be missing in novels. Like you don't get the like the feel of dread from the populace and everything. So it's really well done
Yeah.
by Brandon
I thought
Sanderson.
what was funny is after a while, I was like, man, the passage of time feels odd in this section. And I was like, I haven't really heard him mention like, oh, a storm passed or something like this. And of course, we're not cutting back to other um areas of the world really. Well, I mean, we're getting the flashbacks. We get one like we do go back to Dalinar in current time, but then goes to his flashbacks, and then the
Yeah,
rest is in Kolinar until the end of the part. So whenever he does go to different parts of the world, he's using the passage of storms to help align the timelines
yeah,
so all right, okay, it's around this time it's going on. But because it's stuck in colon R, that doesn't need that. But then it's not giving us, like, oh, X number of days. But then, like, right when I realized that, then it started like, oh, an Everstorm came, and then this came, and then it started
Yeah.
like it showed up right around the time where I noticed it was missing, and I was like, this is weird and creepy.
Yeah, from what I gather, they're there for like a few weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah, it was at least like two or maybe three passings of the Everstorm. So,
Which is
the
9 days
Everstorm passes
until
every 9 days,
yeah, it's
which is
like
about 2 weeks, just shy of 2 weeks. So,
yeah.
all right, chapter 62,
All right,
research.
research. Yep, it's Shalon Davar. Um, Sh Shalon is investigating the weird spren. She like punches herself to try to bring pain spren out, and while everybody's kind of like they're in the tailor. You get introduced to them. Um, she like stabs herself. It's really messed up. The pain spren are all weird and twisted. Um, yeah, Elokar is like, yeah, all this crazy spren, that's definitely what corrupted my wife, and it's not her fault, even though everybody's like, the execution of the Argent and stuff happened before the Everstorm. This is gonna be bad. Um, Shalon like does shame spren by like removing her safe hand and like falling over, and it's really funny.
That
Yes,
previous chapter she saw exhaustion spren um that were also corrupted, so they were like jets of dust rising in the air. But these were bright red instead of normal brown and seemed distorted. So she's she's trying to see how many and which spren
yeah,
are have been changed.
yes. Uh, we get some more information that the wall guard is being commanded by this mysterious High Marshal Azure. We also get that if anyone uses fabrials, like these screaming spren come around, and then they get attacked by the fuse. So nobody's using fabrials, um, which is kind of crazy. I don't know. Yellow spren, but so I don't know if they're the same spren that like Vinley is talking to and stuff, but they are interesting. I'm curious what those are like. Um um yes, they want to scout out the city and send a Elokar wants to send a message to the queen. Probably like we don't really get too much of like the contents, but it's probably like I'm alive, blah 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 blah. Um, via he wants Shalon to deliver it, and then Kaladin's gonna escort her to see if anything goes wrong, which we'll see. She changes to the veil because she still doesn't want to show veil to the rest of the people, but she has to expose herself to her new like Vatha and all those spies she's done. So she does that. Most of them are surprised, but Ishna is like, "Oh, I know that makes sense." Yeah, and then they're gonna go do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting chapter here. So, like Shallan is noticing Elokar is acting more regal. So, like Kaladin has already kind of seen him start to change. He saw it whenever he was drunk before Moash attempted to assassinate him in the previous book. So we have more people noticing that Elokar really is like he really was just ignorant and he didn't realize how he came about, right? Or how he came off. And so now he's like, oh, I was really that dumb. Like, all right, let me try and be, I really do want to be good, and do good for my people. And so more people are noticing this. Um,
Yep.
Kaladin also noticed what Shallan was doing. Like he was the only one that realized that why she was doing the things she was doing, like punching herself and uh embarrassing herself. He's like, oh yeah, lots of these Sprin um don't look right. Um a couple other things. Shallan takes a memory of Elokar with his face half hidden in shadow for sketching later. And I made a note of that because I was uh, like it really, you really felt like something was going to happen to Elokar in this part. Like it really, the hints and really set up like danger, danger, danger. Um, and even Elokar felt like he was going to have to sacrifice himself for something.
Yeah.
And so maybe this drawing, the sketch that Shallan does is gonna be present at his memorial service. And then the other thing, the tailor said I've had passion for something to happen. And, of course, in the last part, we find out that Odium calls himself Passion. And then I forget where it's at. There's a religion that's tied to the passions. Um,
Yeah.
and I started thinking, it's like, okay, is this a human religion dedicated to odium, but they don't realize it?
Maybe.
So,
So I know that
but
that's a boring stuff of like the devotees and the passions and stuff.
is it the
I think
passions
I
are Vorin?
think so.
Yeah, I did. I forgot to go look it up. Um,
I
but yeah,
think I think I remember Shallan is like you
I know
dedicate.
callings are.
Yeah, maybe it's callings, not passions. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It
think the
it,
passions are something different.
it tickled a memory that it was Vorin stuff, but I could just be misremembering. I didn't look it up either.
Yeah, I don't want to Google it right now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, fun chapter. Getting more into to stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, and is this where we find out that um like the fashions that were in the magazines weren't the
Or-
true fashions of Kolinar?
yeah.
And
Uh,
Adolin was like, what?
I mean, if all the important people are at the Shattered Plains, then that is the fashion of Kolinar. But yeah, it is funny. They're like, yeah, we made it more militaristic and stuff because y'all are at the Shattered Plains. And he's like, I have these books, and he's like, yeah, those are like way out of date.
All right,
Uh,
chapter 63.
63. We have a Veil chapter or a Shalon Davar chapter. Um, so she's she goes around and she transforms into Veil, and strangely enough, none of the screamers come, so her light binding is good. For some reason, they are not able to sense that. Or light weaving. I don't know, sort of binding. Yeah. Uh, she runs around. We get more of like the state of the city, all the poor refugees, all the people, weird people dressed up as Sprin. I don't think we get the name. We might get the cult name this, but yeah, she's getting close. She's getting too close to the palace. The palace feels wrong. Kind of we get hints that there's like a unmade there. Um, she disguises herself as Lynn. She starts doing this weird shit this chapter where she's Shallan and she puts Veil on top of Shallan, and then she puts a light weaving on top of Veil. So she's still Veil as somebody else because she's insane. She's a crazy person. So she's still Veil, but she's looking like Lynn. And she approaches. the Oathgate. It's where basically the cult has taken over the Oathgate. So like that part of the
That
side
whole
quest,
platform.
yeah, the whole platform. So that side quest they still need to deal with the cult. Yeah. So they got that. Then she finds Kaladin and he gives her the king's letter, and the guards are acting very weird. Like they're kind of like robots almost. They're just kind of like standing still. They're not like talking to each other. Um, it's very strange. Yeah, so she goes alone. And then she goes to the palace. She's like, I got a message from the king to the queen. And Captain takes it to her, and then she gets run through with a sword very abruptly, and it was kind of crazy. She's like, "Oh, I'm dead," and then she collapses. She collapses to the floor, and then nobody says anything, and they're all very robotic and creepy. Very cool. Um, uh, very cool horror in this section. Then she gets picked up, she's carried away. While she's getting carried away, she sees a strange sprint in a mirror that we now realize is the sprint at the end of the book, or end of this part, which is cool. We get that little fun stuff. Then she's basically thrown into the wine room with a bunch of other rotting corpses. So apparently this has been happening a lot. Uh, very bad. And then she heals herself with Stormlight. Luckily, then she basically runs away and meets back up with Kaladin, doing a little the same trick of pattern, saying some noise and drawing guards away and then running away. Um, she's a very good stealth mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, she knows anticipation sprint now. Are so it says while two of the spren looked normal like flat streamers, the others were wrong. They waved long, thin tendrils that looked like lashes to whip a servant. So I think it's anticipation spren. Is that kind of sounds similar to what you were saying might have been Swift spren? Is
Well, yeah.
but yeah, I mean there might still be Swift spren, but the streamers kind of aligned a little bit. Sorry for the silence.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, yeah, that's what she's named with because she's all white and stuff. I just thought that maybe it was a coincidence. That's why they were calling her a Swift Sprint. Um, but I don't know.
And
But yeah,
I was
go
going to
ahead.
say the soldiers do remind me of the lifeless or the drab from Warbreaker. Uh, I mean, there's still an opportunity for some kind of connection um, between the Unmade and Warbreaker, but we don't know for sure yet. Like but what we do know is that the soldiers are affected by the Unmade. Um,
Yeah, and we find out later that they are like radiance of the unmade or something. She's basically used her power to because they don't seem to have powers. I don't know what she's talking about. But she's obviously crazy as well. Um, but she's like infected them with unmade juice or something.
yeah, there you go. Unmade juice.
Unmade juice, which is just a lemon.
Yeah, just a lemon.
Um, but yeah, this also starts the the kind of hilarious but darkly funny thing in this part where just Shalon dies over and over again in this. It's really funny. She reminds me of the cheerleader in Heroes, where she just has no regard for her life. She's like, oh yeah, I'm just dead. All right, I'll heal again, whatever.
Yeah.
Like she must have an insane pain tolerance. Or if like Stormlight numbs you or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because she's just like, oh, I got stabbed. I'm dying. But she's not like in pain.
Yeah.
Or does it seem to be? But yeah, it's crazy. Um, Chapter 63, Within the Mirror. This is another Vale / Shalon chapter.
Wait, no, we just did that one.
We did Within the Mirror.
Yeah.
Did not move my pages in my chapters. 64. Sorry.
Binder of God. I was like, wait, what? Dude, did I miss a chapter? And I was like, no.
No.
Binder of God.
I finished the thing, but did not move the pages in my book. So I read the next chapter header on the book. And I was like, oh, wait. Yeah, we're on that one. Binder of Gods. Dalinar. Cool.
Is this like a trapper keeper?
Basically.
Yeah. Or is it one of those Lisa Frank ones? Or is Lisa Frank the trapper keepers things? I can't remember. 90s stuff.
Man, I don't know. I do not know. Okay. Regardless, we're on the right chapter now. 64. So Dalinar gets the honor blade he got from Kaladin, who got it from Seth last book. And he's like, he asked the Stormfather where the heralds are, and he's like, I'm not gonna tell you, I don't know. And he's like, fine. And then he basically we find out that the God King or whatever is in fact a herald.
Ishi, to be
Yes.
specific.
Yes. And he's like, well, and he explains that Dalinar has the power of him. So he's that guy, Ishar is the herald of Dalinar's order, binder of the gods, which is kind of crazy. The power of connection. And only 2 others can have his power. There can only be 3 oath
Bondsmiths.
bondsmiths, Jesus. At a time. And
So one for honor, one for cultivation, and one for odium.
well, you find out that cultivation is not a sprint you can bond. So I was thinking of the sprint we've seen, what the other 2 could be. I'm thinking that giant whale and that interlude could be one.
The
Like the guardian of that city.
the one where they hang somebody.
No. That Axios collector sees the giant like whale thing.
Okay.
Book
Yeah.
1. That could be one.
Yeah.
And I think
So where did we go ahead with the other one?
yeah. And I think the large glory sprint that Perona or whatever could be the other one. Because I don't think she's a glory sprint. I think she's something else.
The one that Rock saw?
Yeah.
Huh.
Those are 2 guesses I have.
Okay, so let me ask, where did we find out that cultivation is not a sprint you can bond?
In this chapter. He's like the Night Mother. You and cultivation are 2. Stormfather actually laughed. We would have a difficult time making her your sprint. I would like to see you try it. Then who? My siblings need not concern you. So it's not cultivation.
Well, he can't bond her, but I
Yeah.
don't think she's not bondable.
But he
Because
made
if Storm so here, Stormfather refers to Stormfather just said his siblings are not. He doesn't need to worry about his siblings. Now, we look at the epigraphs and the sibling, like the sibling is cultivation. Like, so
but isn't cultivation
she
like
is a spren.
how is she, but are we sure she's a sprint?
She's a spren,
But
yes.
she's a shard or whatever.
She is a shard, yes. But she's a spren.
I mean, we don't know that.
But like Honor is a shard too, but he's bonded.
Well, Honor is dead.
Yes.
Honor was not a sprint that we know of. The
Right.
Stormfather is Honor's sprint.
Okay.
I mean, it could be spread. I don't know. There seem to be more like gods or whatever than spread, which may or may not be the same thing.
Right. Think I don't think there's evidence to say that they're not the same thing, but um I just truly assumed it was the three big entities on the planet.
But it wouldn't be odium because there'd be the order of bondsmiths. So they would have three people at the same time. They wouldn't have the enemy bondsmith in their order. So it just seemed like too like
Well, it I so we know that Odium has mentioned that only a bond like he insinuated that Dalinar has the power to release him from his oaths,
yeah.
just to be with bondsmiths. So something a bondsmith is I'm pretty sure what um shackled Odium. And so, like he doesn't want to have a bondsmith, but I think there has to be a bondsmith that does that.
I mean, maybe I don't know.
So it's not a way of Odium controlling the bondsmith, but a bondsmith controlling Odium. But that's my theory there.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, continue.
Oh, but yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then he's like, "Hey, can you just infuse this the sphere just willy nilly?" And he's like, "Maybe." And then he like tries, but he can't. Um. Then Dalinar gives the honor blade to Bridge 4, and so they can practice without Kaladin. And then they're like, "Oh, we can give this to this guy, and he can heal himself." And then Dalinar's like, "I'm an idiot. I could have used this to heal people all the time, but uh, oops." Um. Then
We have
Dalinar,
alarm fabrials.
yes. Um. Dalinar's gonna go visit the Aesir people. He's gonna go alone, despite the risk. He has to break up a fight between Sadius's troops and Aladar's troops. Um, then he goes meets Yasna, and they they go to Aesir. He goes to Aesir basically.
Oh, so even though Stormfather couldn't infuse that at that moment, we do find he does give us the information that Honor's power pierces like all three realms.
Yeah,
And then in the storm, it recharges the spheres with power. So that's how the spheres get the stormlight or the investiture, which is interesting.
yeah. Seems they seem to be able to hold the spiritual realm or some shit. That's why
Yeah.
it sticks around. All right, but yeah, cool stuff. I'm curious who, if we're gonna get more bondsmiths, who they're gonna be. Uh,
Yeah, I'm interested too.
and if you're correct and it's the three big guys, or if it's other crazy weird spread, we shall see. It's gonna be cool. Do you think we've met a potential bondsmith?
I feel like we have to have met some, at least one other.
Moash. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Maybe Axes the Collector.
I mean, it'd be cool for him to
Um,
show up. I don't know if he can, like, bond a spread. I guess he could.
Crabman.
Crabman.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a bond with his crabs, so I don't think he's a bondsmith of crabs.
Yeah, who
Maybe
else?
Azure, even though it seems like she has a sprint or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's her. I know where she's from. Um,
Um, yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe Taravangian would be cool and dangerous.
yeah, that would be very dangerous, but cool and exciting
Yeah,
and antagonistic.
yeah.
Yeah,
I want to meet the crazy God King of Ishtar or whatever.
yeah. Is she? Yeah,
Yeah, she
yeah. I want to meet more heralds.
yeah. I have a feeling we're gonna meet some in this book. Just because
Yeah, we should.
we've had the big fight, so I don't know what else will appear. Because I don't think we're gonna get. We might get another big fight, but we shall see. Chapter 65, Verdict. This is Jesus, Dalinar Kholem, POV. Uh, he arrives in Azir, and there's like a bunch of soldiers, and they're all afraid of him. He's alone. He has like a thing where he has to like turn the spam rate on and off to like say I'm alive and stuff, or else they're just gonna come and kill everybody, which is fun. Um, he has a bunch of essays prepared. The first one is from Queen Finn. He gives it. He can basically he has Stormfather. He can just like understand language now, so like he learns Asia's just like that, which is really nice. I wish I could do that. Um, which is cool. Yeah, he could always do that, but the Stormfather helps kind of like do unlock that new power. He levels up a little bit. Um, got the
He
experience.
uses connection. I think it says
Yeah, he
connection.
has to grab somebody, and he goes, "I know kung fu," but a little different.
Yeah.
Um,
Spiritual adhesion to make connection.
yes, uh, which is a crazy sentence, but it works. Um,
It's one of those things that you're reading. Go, okay, yeah, sure.
yeah, it's funny. The soldier's like, "Oh, what do I do? He's grabbed me. I'm gonna die." He's freaking out. He's like, "I'm not gonna hurt you, son."
And they go, what?
No, I didn't know barbarian could learn our language. Um, then he's like, they're like, "Oh, you're really cool." And he's like, "But we're gonna have to train you down." He's like, "Wait a second, I got another essay, and this one's from Navani, which is like about economic and technological advances that they can offer because they're trying to woo them into their alliance." Um, and they're like, "Oh, this is really good," but and he's like, "Wait a second, I have a third letter, and this one's by Yasna, and it's ri- ridiculously good. It's like they're like rhymes and shit, and it's all like crazy. They're like they freak out about it. They're like, "This is the most beautiful thing that's ever been written."
Yeah, it was
Then
only like a single double-sided piece of paper, and
yeah,
like it was like a complete understanding of like Asish logic and philosophy, and they're like, what?
and it's like written in a meter or something that like
Yeah.
it seems crazy, but obviously we can't read it because Brandon Sanderson was like, I'm not gonna think of something that's crazy because it's too good. So so yeah, then they're gonna so they're very impressed, so they lead him out into this little room where he has to wait. He's gonna eat some food that Navani because Navani made him a lunch because she's a loving wife, and he goes to eat it, but it's gone. But lo and behold, Lift is there and she's eating it. Uh yeah, so they're talking about it. They realize that each other have met the Night Watcher because he smells like her, which is interesting that Lift can like detect that. So we get more. Hopefully, we get more Lift and we'll see other people that visit her. So that'll be fun. Um, then Nora returns. That's the lady of Vizier, who I'm pretty sure is the one that Yasmin was talking to in Spanish.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I don't. It's not confirmed, but she seemed like it because she has had dealings with Lyft before and seems important high regard. But they agree to go to Irithudu, um, and Yes, it was Navani's essay that convinced them. And even though Yasna's was technically like brilliant, this one Navani's had more heart to it, and it convinced them to try. And they were like, "Yes, you're not what I thought. Uh, I I thought you would be an animal." And then the animal hits in his head. He's like, "Oh my God, it's an animal!" And he freaks out and kind of collapses because he gets more flashbacks. And that's that.
Yeah, so um one of the funnier things in here, um so on his way to, this is not the funny thing, but on Dalinar's way, he's being brought the long way to the palace. And as he's going through it, the city reminds him of the rift. And like he starts to feel like this memories start to push into his head at that moment. It doesn't quite get through, but it does at the end of the chapter. But it was a nice little touch that, oh, things are starting to spark, like, almost like a tip of the tongue type uh phenomena
Yeah.
with the memories. Nice little nuance in the writing that's fun,
Oh yeah, definitely.
that I think a lot of authors don't necessarily touch on.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is, as he passes by some people that are shouting and arguing, he notices that they're not angry. They're not like surrounded by anger spren, but they're surrounded by logic spren. So like there's like, and it kind of tracks with the Aegis that they're more logical. So the debates are going to be logical and not emotional,
Mhm.
which is fun. But overall, it's a nice chapter. Um, that's great example of like a new experience in the series. So like
Yeah.
we're experiencing something completely different from the world that we've already built.
Yeah. And those are the people that were that protesting were having to be basically do manual labor because all the Parshendi left. And that they had like a month under the law, they have like a month that they were able to like protest before they would be forced to do the labor. Also, we hear that the Parshmen were negotiating with the Azure people through essays and stuff, because it seems like the Parshendi, wherever they are like get the innate culture of the people that they were with.
Which makes
Um,
sense.
yeah. So they were negotiating until the crazy sprint came down and kind of ordered them to move off to other parts of the empire, because most of the empire seems to be kind of cool, but like some of them are pretty messed up, and like the Ishi or whatever is still making war. So it's bad, but it seems to be not crazy bad right now for easier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, and then my theory is Dalinar is going to learn how to read and write as well. So
Yeah.
he will no longer need a woman to communicate and read and write for him. So
Yeah. He basically is able to cast comprehend language from D&D,
yeah, there you
which
go.
is I wish I had that. Um, so maybe I'll be a bondsmith in the RPG whenever you run it.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on to chapter 66, strategist. This is the start of the Dalinar flashbacks in this section.
Strategist.
Strategist. Strategery. This is 11 years ago. Um, Dalinar is with Adolin. Adolin is now 12. They're in a conquered keep in near Yakaved, in the highlands near Yakaved. Um, the he's basically kind of broken. Uh, he dealt with the Hardazians the last flashback, and in this flashback, he's kind of dealt with the Yakaved people. Um, yeah, he's basically he's looking at a map, right, of the of the rift? He's like already kind of figured out he's gonna have to go there, or is that another chapter? That might be the next chapter.
He brings in um well, like he's showing Adolin a drop bridge designed to make a Shardbearer fall from
Yeah,
up high, and then he brings Adolin into the strategy meeting, where Adolin is able to explain borders, old and new, and the treaties that earn them lands, not through battle, but politics.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But he gets a
all this kind of stuff.
yeah, he gets a spamming message from Gavilar, basically being like, "Hey, the rift is in basically open rebellion. Uh, Tantalin the younger, um, which is expected. Evie is like not super thrilled to be on another campaign. She wishes to, you know, live a life of peace, which is not possible with the Blackthorn. She also is like, Donna, you have a second son. You really need to like visit him and stuff. Um, which shows that Renarn's thoughts of being like a second class son is correct because Dalinar, at least before the visit to the night mother, night watcher, didn't really care for Renarn because he couldn't fight. Um, and then he's basically like, I'll probably like never go settle for Kolinar. We're just gonna, continue fighting wherever I'm needed. And she starts to cry, and he offers to take her back to or visit her homeland, but she's like, we fled our homeland, we can't go back there. And he's like, all right, fine. After the rift, I'll take it easy for at least a year, and we can chill. And he's like, "You won, woman. You won your battle." And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So basically, I get like strategist. Obviously Dalinar is good, but I think this might refer more to Adolin learning the Alethi ways. And like you see that. At the same time that Evie is like begging Dalinar to give up the Alethi ways. So, but we know how Adolin turns out, and he is, not the Blackthorn, but he's actually like the best parts of both of his parents. Like he's
yeah,
an awesome strategist and sword fighter, um, but he's also very, you know, loving and caring and
yeah,
attempts to bridge things without violence first.
yeah. He's just an all-around good dude that even Kaladin likes, even though he's a ladass. It's
Yeah.
like he's like, damn it, why is Aelin so cool? I wish I could hate him, but he's a cool ladass.
Why you gotta be so cool, bro?
Yeah, basically. All right, we got unless you got anything else.
Nope. Mission.
67 mission. Before that, we get a cool picture of all the different Spren and how they're like altered and stuff.
Corrupted, yeah.
Yeah, we do get to see that this is connected to the world of Harry Potter because there's a oh my god, golden
A
there's
Dementor?
a snitch. There's snitch Spren, a golden snitch.
There's a golden snitch in there?
Look at it, little tiny things.
Let's see here. Colinar Spren. Oh, yeah, those are snitches.
Yeah, they're hunger Spren, which is
Yeah.
funny.
The Hunger Spren are snitches.
Yeah,
How about that?
yeah. And we have I guess, is that supposed to be Kaladin? And it's like, as the dude down there with the crazy spear?
Yeah, I don't think that's Kaladin.
I don't think it is either, but whatever it is, it looks cool as hell.
I think that's that fuse that he sees
That makes
as the
sense. Yeah,
spear.
yeah,
And
that makes-
that's why, and he like Kaladin,
yeah,
hey, that's a good weapon.
yeah. That is, I don't know what, I don't know how.
Is he going to make Syl that shave?
Maybe, or and also outfit his squires with something like that. I don't know how Shallan drew that, but it looks cool as hell. Yeah,
Yeah,
like always, the illustrations in these novels are cool. Um,
it really
so
does help to imagine the world as well.
yeah, though I did not see the hunger spread as golden stitches from Harry Potter. I mean, hey, it does mean that the Windrunners can play Quidditch,
Yes,
so there is that.
they can only play against the Skybreakers though.
Yeah, first they have to get really hungry, and then they can play.
They just bring an orphan there. No, the lift is always there.
There you go. Yeah, and she's the only one that can catch it either.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. This is a Shalon Devar chapter. Uh, so Shalon is recovering from being murdered. She died once. And she's freaked out about the unmade she saw in the mirror, and she's like still recovering. She's messed up. Uh, so yes. Then they're in a meeting with like the king and Adolin and all of them trying to figure out what to do. And they basically get their side quests. Shallan will infiltrate the Cult of Moments to try to get close to the Oath Gate. Uh, Adolin and Elokar will try to basically go to the Light Eyed houses that are kind of like closed off and try to like rally the troops there. In very much a Mistborn fashion, reminded me of that. And
Yes.
and then Kaladin's side quest is to go investigate the High Marshal Azur and the Wall Guard, figure out what's going on there. Um, and then yeah, they're like, yeah, this is weird. Everything's weird. And Acidine was acting funny before the Everstorm happened, so we're not sure what the hell's going on with her. But we're gonna have to figure it out anyway, because that's the plan. Then we switch to the Vale's point of view. Ha ha ha.
Shallan does draw the unmade and show everybody so that they're aware of like what it looks like. And then she notices that Elokar is drawing the palace and the city, and she's like, "Hey, that's not that bad of a drawing. Like, you're pretty good at
Hmm.
drawing there."
Yeah.
And for some reason, I did write here that Adolin and Elokar are also going to find out or try to find out where the grain is coming from, and I think it's like a secret soul caster.
Yeah, there's a lot of in these in this part, a lot of stuff about food. There's because the city if would just like if you think of like New York or something, if it was cut off from the outside, it would eat itself dry really fast. So
Yes.
especially if there's you can't use soul casters. So there has to be some way it's happening. And yeah, that's a big central mystery right now. So we switch to Vale's point of view. She is in disguise, walking around trying to get the feel of the city. Um, she's like going around. Um, she talks to like a woman's a tailor. Getting things about like the queen and a bunch of other stuff. Trying to figure out about the cult and things like that. She finds out there's a where basically the grain is being distributed every day, and also that like the high lords are sending people to get food for them, and so like it's very corrupt, as you would think would be, because damn light eyes. Um, so she she meets the little urchin. She gives some food to him, and yeah, you get just a bunch of stuff about all that stuff, and then she hears a familiar voice of a dude that just appears when he wants to be. I mean, we see Wit, and Wit tells a story about the moon and this princess and how they swap paces, and then she swaps back, and it's a thing.
And she's pregnant with the other moons. So.
Yeah, yeah. Which I don't know. Sure, it was kind of cool, but and then yes, that's kind of we're gonna talk to Wit next chapter.
Yeah, Shalon starts noticing like his use of smoke and colors that being supernatural. And like at first she's like, is he light weaving? But then she doesn't see any stormlight. So my theory here is that Wit is using his biochromatic breath that he got from visiting Nalthis um, at some point prior to this, not necessarily during Warbreaker, because he could probably have visited there multiple times. Um, but that's kind of how I feel he's doing this.
Sure, he's also able to like affect white light weaving, which is interesting
Yes.
because he does that in the Girl Who Looked Up chapter.
What
He like makes her light weaving darker and stuff.
oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do, 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 do. And then at the end, like Shalon happens to see inside of Wit's bag and sees like a jar, um, which has to be, from my knowledge of other Cosmere books, this is just a jar of pure investiture, similar to like Stormlight. So a Radiant would be able to use this as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, she sees a jar in there, which I am pretty sure is just a jar of investiture, which Wit is using whenever he needs to.
It's just jam, and Vale doesn't care, but Shalom really likes some jam.
Yeah, there you go. What else was I gonna say? Oh,
I
Adolin and Elokar identify the corpses that were in the closet as being like KVs. And there's some distant colon relatives um, that probably tried to take control of the palace, and the queen had them killed. So
Yeah, or went and talked to the queen. The queen just killed them anyway. Um, yeah, Wit brings up his flute again, so you should never have given Kaladin his flute.
yeah, he'll never let that go.
Yeah. Um, and Wit is also able to see through Veil to see Shalon, so he has some sort of power to see through light weaving, or he can just tell from her mannerisms or something that's Shalon. Ready for the next one?
Yep, let's do it.
68. Aim for the sun. This is a Shalon chapter. It picks up basically right off the last chapter. He they're Wit and her talk. She asks if he's a herald. He's like, no, I'm much older than that. I'm something.
And that he would not get involved in religion again.
Yeah. Um, he's made a vow to be there when he's needed. Sure.
But there is anywhere.
Yeah. So he's correct. He finds out that Sadie's is murdered, and he's sad that he wasn't able to see it. And he doesn't know that he needs to be in the city, but it's not really sure why. Innkeeper she wants to be like him and be able to change the world, and he's like, be wary of having that power, because if anyone wait, sorry. Yeah, he's like, don't watch the future or see the future, because it'd be bad.
Yeah.
She asked him
Not
about
to trust anybody claiming to be able to see.
yeah, including himself. um, yes, we found out that an unmade, the heart of the revel is there, and every night the members have a giant feast and an orgy, as we find out. And if she can find food, she can like bribe her way into there. Um, and that's kind of it.
He also tells Shallan because she says, I want I need to know how to save the world. And he says that she already knows how to save the world. She just needs to find out why. And then he disappears.
Yep.
Um, there are Fabrial ceiling fans. Something I did think I would see in this book. Um,
Yeah.
Wit likes a good redhead. He's got a thing for redheads. It's a shame about the dark hair. Your natural red would be arresting with that white coat. Um, I wonder if in the end Shallan survives and becomes a world hopper with Wit.
Maybe.
Goes around. Um, let's see. Oh, this one's funny. When the innkeeper shows up, he's like, where'd Wit go? He said he'd treat me like a king, and Shallan's like, well, he's keeping that promise, because as we know, Wit always disappears on the king
Yeah.
without telling him where he's going. Um, and then we get Pattern saying that Wit feels like one of them. And I took that as a Spren. Like he feels like Wit feels like a Spren.
Yeah.
So, whatever that means.
Yep.
But that brings us to 69.
Nice.
Nice.
Yes, chapter 69. Free mail, no strings. Nice. This is a Kaladin chapter. Um, he just tests out the screaming things. He like infuses a small stone and like the little like the spring comes down, screams at it, and a fuse comes down and he's like looking around. He's and they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And runs away. So he's able to like test out how much Stormlight he can use and stuff like that. Um,
And Pattern says they don't come when Shallan light weaves because he and Shallan are quieter than Kaladin and Syl.
yeah,
Whatever that means.
they're able to max their energy like in DBZ. Um, so he just needs to learn from Goku.
Goku!
Goku.
Goku!
Uh, yes. Um, they are gonna go to a Light Eyes party to figure out some shit. Kaladin, Scar, Drehi, Adolin, and yeah. I like Scar and Drehi's relationship with Adolin. They're like bros, and Kaladin's very confused, and he's like, "Yeah." Adolin's like, "Yeah, they like saved me a bunch of times. We're pretty chill, so that's fun." Um,
He's promising them later on that he's going to take them out drinking.
yeah, he's like, they like asked for him to like swipe some good Light Eyes food for them and stuff like that. Um, yeah, they're pretty much bros. Kaladin wants gets a disguise, but he doesn't want a new face. But they want to cover up his brands because it start some trouble. So he does that. Oh yeah,
Adolin wants him to train with
the
the
side
side
sword,
sword.
but they don't have time, so he just yeah, that comes up a couple times. Um, yeah, Adolin is wearing this crazy new outfit, which is funny. That's very ostentatious. Um, so they arrive at the party. Elhokar and Adolin go and try to find the allies. Uh, Scar and Drehi go to the Dark Eyes part to like get more information. And Kaladin kind of just wanders around and gets stopped by the wall guard, and he goes with them basically.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to the Light Eyes Guard tent, but before he went there, he was like, I'm gonna find out about I'm gonna go get caught by the wall guard.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So, yep. Ultimately, it's just a fun little chapter.
Mhm.
Adelyn's turning out to be like an extremely likable character.
Mhm.
Um, just good old bro.
Yep.
And then it is fun, you know, as the reader trying to figure out like what makes the Void Sprint attracted to certain things and not others, and then seeing the characters testing that as
Tap.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fun also seeing that Bridge 4, like besides basically Kaladin and Moash, they kind of don't give a shit about Light Eyes. Like, because like Scarlet is, yeah, I mean, it was cool, and like, Kaladin's like complaining about them throwing parties and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, but Dark Eyes, we eat too and stuff, and he's like, that's not the same, and they're all freaking out, but they're like, yeah, whatever. But it's really only like Kaladin and Moash that hold on to this kind of Dark Eyes, Light Eyes stuff. Just interesting.
Yep.
All right, so chapter 70, High Marshal Azur. This is a Kaladin POV. Um, Kaladin is with the Wall Guard, with a bunch of them, and they're like asking a story, and uh, ask he's a Light Eyes because he like summons Syl and stuff. So like, they're talking about his Light Eyes. They're all kind of like a lower level. So you getting more context of like the strata of Light Eyes and how most of them are kind of just normal guys, but um so yeah, you get to learn more about Azure and like how she has we figure out that Azure has a shard blade, and yes, they're kind of appeared to and save the city just kind of out of nowhere, which is kind of strange. Then we meet her, the lady, um, and like nobody talks about it. It's really funny. Like, don't talk about it. It's um and they
Mentioned
have,
it's a woman.
yes, don't, yes. Uh, so they have food. Mysteriously still have food. Um, they go up to the wall. Paladin's glyphs show that he's from Sadius, so they're like wondering how he got there, and things like that. Doesn't care that he's a deserter, and they just need kind of people, and he kind of um he kind of agrees to kind of join them, but and it's his for some reason his scars and tattoos are still visible even through the light weaving. And he's like, maybe Azure is a radiant. We have some in common. And it's kind of chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. So he really feels at home, like with the military life in the barracks when he gets there. Um, yeah. It might be here or later on when they're talking about like tenors and um the higher Dawn Light Eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Azure takes him up to the wall and shows him the Shindi armies, and he's like, "You should come join us to protect the city." And his thoughts go to Saw and his daughter and Kin, who were the Parshmen that he traveled with.
Yeah.
Um, Later on, we see those same people, and they do not make it out. Um,
Yeah. And Azure is named that way because she has like an Azure cloak. Which is pretty cool.
yeah, and her description, he finds her description interesting. Like, so let's see, she was the average height for an Alethi woman, maybe just under it, and wore her hair straight and short, reaching halfway down her cheeks. Her eyes were orange, and she wore a sword. Whoa, what the hell? With a glistening silver basket hilt. So like a little rapier
Yeah.
thing. That was not a Lethe design. Was it the aforementioned shard blade? It and this is quoting, it did have an otherworldly look about it, but why wear it instead of dismissing it? So, he sees this blade and it's like, well, if that's the shard blade, then why is she wearing it and not
Yeah.
dismissing it? So something's
And then,
something's up with that sword.
yeah, it doesn't have a ruby or a gem.
Yeah, it doesn't have a gem attached to it either.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not just
And she
a
also has
shard
some.
blade.
She also has some scars on her face.
But also later on, whenever they go through the Oath Gate, Adolin only sees three Spren,
Yeah.
not four.
Or there
Even though
before.
Azure is with them.
Yeah, but it's Adolin, Azure, Shallan, and Caldus. There should only be two.
No, there's Kaladin,
Yeah.
Kaladin's Sill,
Yeah.
Patterns there,
Yeah.
and Adolin's Shardblade.
Oh, yeah. Guess you see that.
Yeah, that's the one that has the eyes scratched out.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
So there's three, not four, but Azure's with them.
Hmm.
So, or it
Interesting.
could be Azure's and not Adolin's, but we know that Adolin has a shard blade, and those are dead Spren. So there was a Spren with their eyes X scratched out that was standing there with Sill and Pattern.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
interesting.
yeah, but he
Yeah,
yeah. So
cool new character. She seems fun.
yeah, I'm excited. I want to see more of her. So
Yeah.
we
Chapter
can
71,
yeah.
A Sign of Humanity. This is a Dalinar flashback, 11 years ago still. Um, he is marching towards the rift. Um, he's he's still like worried about the fight that he had with Evie and how she's like feeling and stuff. She wants him to avoid bloodshed at all costs and not be an animal but a human. Um, and he's like kind of like, you know, this is war, and I freaked out. He gets report that there was a caravan. As they approached the city, a caravan left, but they did not engage it. They kind of had some scouts kind of look at it. Um, he has the troops form up, and he's like, "All right." He rides out, and he's like wants to parley, and Tanalan come out to talk to him, and Dalinar's like, "Listen here, you need to surrender, or I'm gonna like kill everyone, basically." Like generations will weep for the amount of carnage I went to your city. I can't really help it. It's war. You've rebelled. I have to make an example of you. Don't make me do it. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna suck. And Tenan's like, I can't do that. And then he like declines and goes away. But he's like, but that caravan had a shard bearer and it was Sadius and stuff. And like maybe this was the plan the whole time that like I fake rebelled so I could draw out all the traitors and like so we stopped them together and like yeah that was what we did right wink and Delar was like yes that is right we did do that. It is that Sadius, that rat bastard. Did he betray us? But also, I can't take the chance because if he put a shard bearer out and then like even if it's not safe, it was just one of his shard bearers. If he just attacks us in the rear while we're fighting, he could just like wreck our entire battle plan. So I'm gonna have to go after it anyway. So he tells his soldiers to like occupy the walls because they're surrendering, and then he and a bunch of his elites are gonna go after the caravan.
Yeah, I made a note right when I finished this chapter. I said something feels terribly off with this plan.
Yes, yes,
Oh, yep. I mean, that's straightforward. I don't think there's much to talk about there.
yep. Stupid old
The,
Hanlon.
the only other thing, the only thing to mention is it does like it plays into Sadius's character that we know, apart from the fact that we know Sadius uh loved Gavilar as much as Dalinar did.
Yeah,
And we know that.
yeah,
So the idea of Sadius betraying Gavilar is like, no, that's a red flag. But the
yeah.
idea that he would betray Dalinar, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. And Dalinar is really excited because he could like go up against Sadius. He's like, ah, that could be kind of fun if it actually is true.
Yeah.
Um, because Dalinar is a crazy barbarian man. Um, but yeah, setting up what happens. What happens.
Rockfall?
Pretty cool. Rockfall 72. This is a Shalandavar or a Veil chapter. Um Vale, Vatha, and they're sneaking into a mansion. They're basically trying to get food. Um, uh, they're doing a stealth mission basically. They're like ducking in, avoiding guards. She's like shape shifting. Um,
All right. I have to say that not knowing what they were doing, what the hell they were doing at the
yeah,
beginning of
it
the
was pretty
chapter
confusing.
made it very boring and like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Because there was no precursor.
it
Oh,
was
you
not like we're
gonna
going to
like
get food. Yeah,
I was like, what the hell? Like, did I miss something? Like, what are they doing? But
yeah. It was a little weird. Um, she she turns into this brightness Nanavav or whatever the fuck you how you say that in a in a in a V. No, no, not a V.
90.
Uh Nynaeve. Yeah, she turns into Nynaeve. She has a braid. She pulls her braid. She berates people and she berates this guy into opening up the larder, which is very Nynaeve. So yeah, Nynaeve appears. Um then even Patton's like or Vatha's like you're kind of overdoing it, and she's like shut up, I'm this person, because she's going even more deeper into her illusions and she's very much going insane. um so yeah, and she starts like thinking like maybe I could like become her. I could just because I'm the superior version of her. So if I just murder her, I could just be her on the entire always. And then she's like, "What the fuck is happening to me? I'm going insane." So yeah, she's going quite crazy. Uh, they basically complete the food heist, and the real Nynaeve appears, and she's like, "Yeah, go ahead."
This cool scene there though is that Shalon, like as they're loading the rugs full of food onto the cart, she starts seeing anger spren seeping
Yeah,
through the ceiling. And I was like, oh, that is cool.
that
That's a
was cool. That was cool.
cool, that is a really cool narrative way to say, oh, they've been found out, as opposed to, oh, I
Yeah,
hear somebody upstairs saying, oh, what are they doing? They've stolen the food.
yeah. Literally, they had the Metal Gear red exclamation point and anger spin up here, which is cool. She must be glad there's no like stealth sprint or thievery sprint, or else she'd be found out really easily. Um, but yeah, the real Nynaeve appears, and like freaking Shallan goes out and like basically makes this crazy image of like sprint and all this crazy bullshit up here, and it's like going all. She's going up to 11, and she gets shot in the forehead by a crossbow bolt. Does not die. Uh,
Doesn't she disguise herself and poke herself out and looked at the real one, and the real one's like freaking out, like looking at herself?
yeah, but she also like makes all this crazy sprint appear, and like all this crazy bullshit happens. And then she gets shot in the face and does not die because she's insane. Um, and then she's like talking with him. It's really funny. If you listen to the audiobook, she's like, which is really funny. Which is it's written in here, but Kate Redding does a really good job of like saying her messed up words. And then she gets the bolt pulled out. Uh
Blacks out.
she blacks out. She like dies basically, and comes back to life. I guess she must be happy that she just I guess had a bunch of Stormlighter when they pulled it out. Um,
Yeah, if she
then
didn't have Stormlight in her, I think she would have just died.
yeah, I think so too. So this is for counting. This is the second time Shallan's died this part. Um, so she's getting a real knack for dying. Then she decides to basically give pass out food to like the migrants and poor people to like draw up like notoriety for herself and to get the
Try to
cult
get the
attention.
cult notice her.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Uh
Grun the urchin provided a list of people she could use
yeah.
that could use the food, and
Yes.
she starts going around. And in the meantime, which I don't know if this came up before, but she had Grund and Ishna looking for books that might have information on the Unmade. Do we know
Yeah.
if that was brought up before?
I think so, but I can't remember.
Or is this where she tells them to try to find? But
It might have been earlier, I'm not sure. We
yeah,
start don't we start getting epigraphs from that book? Am I making that up? I don't know.
the next part, I think the epigraphs are from the book she got, Mythica,
Yeah,
but I haven't started reading the next section yet. So
me neither. But yeah, cool, if a little confusing, with this kind of stuff.
once I realized what they were doing,
Yeah.
it was cool, but there was no setup of, oh, they're going to a mansion to steal food. So
Yeah, it was a little because I listened to this book, this part in an audio book. It was a little confusing. The like the stealth mission at first, like what was happening. I was like, what the fuck is it like? Yeah, I was like, what is happening? And then I kind of figured it out, and it was fine.
yeah, once
Hey,
once figured it out, it was cool.
yeah, could have used a little bit more context at the start. Um, but yeah, Shallan really reminds me now I think of it of the cheerleader from Heroes, where she just does not care about getting hurt at all. It's like, yeah, whatever. I have Stormlight. I'll just get to run through and stuff. Does not seem to phase her. Which is interesting. She might have a death wish.
Yeah,
Chapter 73.
73.
Telling witch stories. This is a Kaladin chapter. He's with Walgard. He's patrolling. He's in Noro's squad. He's kind of easily one of them. He kind of falls in. He's very, like you said, very much into the military discipline and kind of the banter of everybody. They're all making fun of Adolin, which is really funny. Because he's in that crazy dress that he or garb that he's in. Because
This is
they're
where they talk about the Middlers,
yes,
which are light eyes of higher than the eighth dawn, and compare the tenors; those are the 10th dawn.
do
And
they have
am I misremembering, or is so the caste system of light eyes is dawns, but the caste system of dark eyes is nons?
maybe is that in the Arcanum?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I'm looking at it right now. No, I wish I don't. I'm not quite sure what they only bring it up very rarely. But I think I think you're right, nuns and dons. Um,
It's interesting that they have different terms for them, but I mean,
yeah, I guess it makes
whatever.
because I guess you would want to distinguish it since light eye or dark eyes can't become light eyes unless they get a shard blade, which is very, very rare. So you'd want the top to be like, very much the separation between them. Um, yeah, it's very weird. Um, so yeah,
The squad meets up with another squad.
yeah, it's meet up a squad. They're basically going to the place to drop off excess food to like the
Velalant,
no
the Bright Lord.
yeah, basically there's a like kind of like a soup kitchen or food bank where they're gonna go transport all the food to, and they're making sure the mob doesn't rush and get it. Um, Kaladin is still trying to get the mystery of the food. They only get a little clue is that basically when Azure first arrived, she had them attack a monastery and get a soul caster. So they have a soul caster, but for some reason uh, the screamers don't give it away, and so it's strange. Um, they yeah, they're going. They notice that the palace there's like nobody around the palace. It's very much a dead zone. Because all the people are very weird. Um, and then yeah, and then alarm drums happen. Kaladin starts giving orders, and he starts fighting Fused, and then they kind of like it was just a little skirmish, and then they run away.
Yeah.
And then Kaladin's like, "My bad for being a commander," and Nora's like, "Ah, whatever, I don't care."
Yeah, yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I there was lots of camaraderie, and there's like I got the feeling that maybe in an earlier draft, uh, Sanderson had this actually be Bridge 4.
Hmm.
Uh, but then was like, no, I need Bridge 4 to be somewhere else as well. Like he needed wind runners to be doing something somewhere else. Um, and so he created the wall guard. Um, but yeah, a cool thing when they're starting to trying to meet up with Velolant, and he's late. Uh, some of the cult followers come out and they start whipping themselves, which draw the corrupted spread, and then they start spouting madness. Like they're creating they're bringing out the influence of the rebel, heart of the rebel,
Yeah,
um, and kind of craziness. It reminds me of one of those scenes in it was either House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones, where they're being escorted through the city and like basically a riot starts and they have to like get themselves out. Um,
that would be Game of Thrones with the funeral procession or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the
yeah.
cult is very crazy.
Yeah. This chapter was fun. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, I don't know if he originally had him as Bridge 4. I do like how they're given personalities and stuff, considering what happens to him at the end of this part. It's all the more tragic and just kind of showed me how we've seen Kaladin with his briefly with his original squad of that got killed by Amaram or by uh oh my god Shallan's brother and Amaram, but how like so it kind of just showed me again how Kaladin's easily able to just like connect with soldiers and like that's one of his like as much as he's not really a people person, he's like a soldier person.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Now we have chapter 74, Swift Sprint, which is a little bit of a tongue twister. This is a Veil chapter. Um, she's she's going around, she's giving out her food. it's kind of like routine now. So some time has passed, like you said, we're not exactly sure how long, but she is getting a reputation as this swift spring, um, kind of a Robin Hood-esque figure.
Oh,
That's
it's funny. I even made a copied the description of a Swiss Spren here. I didn't even remember, but it was a Spren shaped like a glowing arrowhead, which arrowhead design things are a thing in this world. Um,
okay.
that wove through the sky around sky eels. Golden tassels streamed from her back, long with arrowhead shapes at the ends. Her entire front was wrapped in cloth that trailed behind, her arms, legs, and face covered.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's a description of a swift spren.
yeah,
They exist. So
she's pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, she's also like sending out Vatha and Ishna as illusions of her to like even like trump up her reputation even more. Um, she's she kind of gets in with the cult a little bit and starts getting caught up in like their chanting and hearing a voice of Shallan, I'm not your enemy, kind of like craziness. Uh, so of the unmade that we find out.
I feel
Uh,
like that's two different voices. Like
yeah,
they're
it could be the rebel or it could be the one that she talks to. I'm not
like
sure.
I think the surrender, give me your passion, your pain, your love, give up your guilt,
Oh,
embrace
that
the
one is
end.
it.
That was Heart of the Rebel, but then
Yeah,
Shallan, I'm not your enemy.
that's the
That's Shah not or whatever. So
yeah Shabnagora. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, she's kind of freaked out. Then she like basically does her illusions. She's like, the spread don't want you to do all this, and she like makes a whole scene and freaks everybody out. And then she then basically finds Wit again. Um, and she talks to Wit. I can't remember.
uh,
She has to pay Wit's tab, which is funny. Um,
yeah, I don't think she talks to it. She just hears like a group of people laughing
yeah,
and singing, and then sees that Wit's leading them in song.
yeah, that's
Later
right.
on, she runs into him again and talks to him. But
Yeah. Then she's having a hard time. She's completely insane. She's having a hard time returning to Shalon because she wants to go flirt with Kaladin, um, which is a just not a good sign. She finds Elokar. He's like sipping some wine, kind of figuring stuff out. He wants to be a hero. I want to be a hero. And then she like with that uh, caravan driver, she um, gives him a portrait of what he could be a noble, regal man at his full potential, and he nearly comes to tears. And Ishna, she meets up with Ishna, and she gives her a note that she got saying that basically she has permission to go to the cult alone
uh,
and to bring food.
so Elikar, while they're drinking in the kitchen, he asks about the pattern that's on Shallan's skirt and says it looks familiar. So, was he about to become a light weaver?
Possibly. I mean, you would need a spren, which
Right. But I mean, we saw him saying the words right before he died. So he
yeah,
was like so close to being there and being immortal.
well, you would need a stormlight, which I don't think he had any on him.
He probably would have, I mean, Shallan had some, like Kaladin had some.
Yeah, but I mean,
He would have probably sucked some in.
possibly,
Yeah.
but
But yeah, right around this
Oh
time
well.
is when I felt the noticed the lack of storm tracking.
Yeah.
This chapter was when I noticed that. And then right after it, it starts talking about, oh, there's storms.
Yeah.
Of course, the next one is a flashback chapter. So
Yeah. Yeah. I just kind of assumed everything was happening. Well, but also, yeah. I kind of just assumed a couple of days, weeks or so were passing. I didn't get too much like you were with the story and with the time. We're just kind of like, yeah, I guess days are passing, but I didn't really know, like you, how many days were passing.
so much shit happens.
So much shit happens. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We get chapter 75, Only Red. It's a Dalinar flashback. He's leading his elite group of archers.
Picks
There's
up right after the other one too.
Yeah, yeah. They're after the caravan. Uh, archers are like really cool. Too bad like they all die, but they're like trained to go really fast and stuff. They run 30 miles a day, which is pretty crazy. Could you do that? No, me neither.
No.
That it kind of reminded me of like Zulu warriors that could run like fucking 40 miles a day or something. The Zulu are pretty badass. But yeah, they're going down. He spots the caravan, Sadius's the people have Sadius uniforms on, and he's like, that doesn't feel right because if they're trying to be clandestine, why would they be wearing his colors? And he's like, it's a trap. And then basically there's a rock slide comes down, buries him, shatters his helmet, fucks up the rest of his plate. Um and basically the soldiers are kind of like shifting through the rubble and they kind of remove some of the rubble to get to his plate, but he's still alive, and he just murders all these dudes, and he's like really messed up, but he's only seen red because he's messed up and also really pissed off. And then he it's really cool. He like walks back to the war camp. Sadius has arrived, um, and he is like really messed up, and he's like basically like, all right,
He
we're
only
gonna
had the
we're
neck brace left as well.
yeah, yeah, which is cool. So if that's still there, you can regrow the entire thing, which is a really cool detail. And then he's like, "All right, Sadius, I've had enough. I warned them what was going to happen. Guess what? That soulcaster we have, it can make food and it can also make oil. We're just gonna burn this entire bitch down and kill everyone." And Evie's like, "No, don't do that, Delinar." And he's like, "Yep, it's gonna be bad."
Uh yeah, it's gonna be terrible. So the description as he's walking back is pretty awesome. It says, in
Yeah.
that darkness, shadowed figures seem to accompany him. Armies made of red mist at the corners of his vision, charging forces that fell to dust and then sprouted from shadow again, like surging ocean waves in a constant state of disintegration and rebirth. Not just men, but eyeless horses, animals locked in struggle, stifling the life from one another, shadows of death and conflict to propel him through the night. Like that's just like he like you know, I don't know if you've ever been so angry and you're just like, man, I wish I wasn't so angry, but you keep reminding yourself of the things that pissed that the thing that pissed
Mhm.
you off. And you're just like dwelling on it, and it's just like making you more angry and keeping you angry for longer.
Yeah. No, it's probably also the Unmade, the
Yeah,
Thrill Unmade.
the one that does the thrill.
It's both. He's very pissed off, and and the Thrill Unmade is there. Wherever the hell that guy was called, I forgot. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I forgot.
good chapter. Craziness is happening.
So hold on.
Yeah.
Um, do.
Doo-doo-doo.
There was another quote I had here, but I don't have to read that one since we do have a lot to cover still.
Yeah.
But a theory here. So it was pointed out that the gem on Oathbringer was cracked and Dalinar could not dismiss it. So, theory, since we know that shard blades are dead spren,
Mhm.
my phone thought I said its word, its Apple name.
Oh,
Um, We know they are dead Spren. Does this mean that the gemstone does the gem with a captured Spren allow the shard blade to transport between realms?
I guess so. I don't know. It also lets them bind to the person, right?
Right. But if it doesn't have a gem, like the gemstone here is cracked,
Yeah,
he can't dismiss it, so it's stuck in the physical realm.
yeah.
Um,
It's like a probably it's like a the Spren able to wake it up and return it to the cognitive realm. Probably.
yeah, I don't necessarily mean I don't necessarily think it's waking it up, but the sprint captured in the gemstone is allowing it to take that object to and from Shadesmar.
Yeah.
So
Or do we even know if there's a Spren inside the gemstone? 'Cause I don't know. I don't
I
know.
would assume so.
Yeah.
I would assume there's a sprint inside that gemstone. So
Guess
if it's
we never
cracked,
really
the
we never
sprint
really
might leave.
learned what if it's a specific gem or not that they use to put
Yeah,
it
I
in.
we'll learn more.
But yeah, but I mean it's a cool. I mean it's a good theory. I don't actually know. I haven't really thought too much about that. But I mean if it's like a Fabrial, then yeah, it would have a sprint in it. So makes sense.
Yeah, and I just assume it operates like a Fabrial.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
76.
76 an animal. Down our Colin's point of view, we could it's basically same thing. Uh Dalinar is like so angry and so consumed with thrill he can't sleep. Messengers arrive from the city. He just gets them killed. He's like, we're done talking. We're murking everybody. Sadeas and Dalinar are arguing. Basically, Dalinar is like, we're not going to tell Gavilar, so he has plausible deniability. This atrocity is going to fall directly on me, and I can survive it, whatever. We'll keep the king clean while I kill everybody. Um, so yeah. Uh, Dalinar and Sadeas have the conversation about like why you thought it was me. Sadeas also says like I don't want to rule. It's much too hard, and I just want to kind of be easy. And also Gavilar is like this mythical figure, and like I belong. My loyalty belongs to him. And Dalinar admits that he once almost tried to kill Gavilar, but he also realized that he doesn't want to rule, basically. Um, they attack. They get a foothill on the wall. He orders the city burn. They're gonna just basically roll down barrels of oil into the city as it has a nice slope. They can just burn everybody up. Um, where so they start
It's
doing
worth noting that Dalinar is refusing to let the thrill give him pleasure in what he's doing.
yeah. Um, they go back to the like safe house that he found the young king in or the young lord in last time. Rolls a barrel in there, burns everybody there. Um uh he sees Talanan going to like the palace. The palace is on fire. He lowers a rope to him, brings him back up, kills his bodyguards, and is like and he basically finds out that Evie went to negotiate and they imprisoned her, and the place where he rolled down the barrel was turned into a prison, so he burned his wife alive. He then strangles him to death, which is pretty cool. Then he finds Evie. There's like there's talk like that she should be labeled as a traitor and stuff like that, but he basically comes up with a plan that she was assassinated, and that's why in retribution, that's why they burn down the city to kind of assuage everybody's guilt, except for his, as he hears screams of innocent crying, and Evie's voice, coalesces in there too. So pretty crazy chapter.
Yeah, it was really really well written.
Mhm.
So not too much, not too much to talk about. Just straightforward and sad.
Yep.
So chapter 77.
Don't piss off
Rest in
the
peace,
Black Storm.
Evie.
Yeah, rest in peace, Evie. Uh, so yeah, now we know why Evie is dead, and obviously the sons don't know the real reason.
Right.
They probably just know that she was assassinated. Um, so yeah, to move on, we'll probably hopefully get to see him meet the Night Mother, Night Watcher, whatever. Which is it? It's Night Watcher, right?
Night Watcher.
I don't know why I think it's Night Mother.
I don't know. I mean, Midnight Mother was the name of
Yeah,
the unmade in the
yeah,
birth room. But chapter 77.
yeah. We get this cool thing of
Shot not
Zanat, which very much sounds like a Cthulhu god. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I made a note. I really like that one.
Yeah,
The Taker of Secrets. And this is from that book that she found.
yeah. Her twisted creations are her beloved children. Her admiration of the spring of our world inspires her. She seeks the children of honor and the children of cultivation. With one touch, she corrupts. So she'll see if that is correct or not. But Storm Shelter, chapter 77. We get our first dual POV in a while. We get Kaladin and Shallan. Um, like you said, we get a storm. The Everstorm is here. There he is in a storm shelter for the rich. Uh, he meets with Shallan and Adolin to get kind of like get information. Um, Adolin and Alakar are like doing okay to get the light-eyed nobles to join their cause. Um, Kaladin thinks that Azur might have an honor blade because it's so weird. And it doesn't have a gem and stuff like that. Because I don't think the other honor blades have a gem. But they have a soulcaster that is able to create grain and stuff. Um, oh, let's see. Yeah, Shallan thinks that there are two unmade in the city: the Shah's Anat, Taker of Secrets, and Astrid Marn, Heart of Rebel. Um, so the Heart of the Rebel is doing the cult, and the other one is doing the palace. Um, yes. They're yeah. So they're freaking out. Sorry.
No, no, it's a back and forth chapter. So
Yeah. They're basically like, we need to speed up this plan. The city is doomed. And then we get some Shallan. Shallan and Adolin are trying to be romantic, but it's the city is dying, so they're kind of freaking out. He looks at her sketchbook, and there seem to be even better drawing of the refugees. He sees a sketch of himself, and Shallan takes the book back before he sees the sketch she made of Kaladin, who yeah, she has some veil poke through, so it looks like could be inappropriate. Um, she goes to steal more food. Um, oh, and then we find out that Vatha is a squire of the Lightweavers, which is pretty cool.
did we read this same chapter here?
77?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. Um,
What?
I don't know. I'm reading my notes and I'm like trying to I'm trying to link up to what so like all right. So first of all, Shallan arrives with Vatha to deliver food to the cultists. Uh
Yeah,
she's
that's
allowed into the revel. Oh wait,
not
my
yet.
bad. I was on the next chapter.
Oh, okay.
Holy fuck.
Hey,
That's why I was so confused. I was like, what did
hey,
I completely miss?
I was gonna do the same chapter twice, and you skipped ahead once, so we're all messed up here.
I mean, I blame this brown liquid.
Yeah, fair
Um,
enough.
yeah, so yeah, two unmade. The book suggests there were only nine, but there's other conflicting reports that there are 10. Um, let's see. Da-da-da. Kaladin is confused by Shallan's different attitudes towards him. Discuss contingency plan of getting King and family out of Kolinar if Shallan can't get the Oath Gate activated. You probably went all over this, but I was so trying to figure out what my notes were.
That's
Uh,
fine.
skips ahead. Shallan shows new sketches. He says she's amazing. Um, she thinks she might have an unfair advantage. He's like, no, that's not so. All the Radiants weren't just soldiers, and after the war, we have to find new ways to use these powers. Um, Shallan's trying to think if she needs to create a new persona that's a perfect bride. Uh, leaves to gather more food for the cultists. Um, her powers go crazy and scroll through a lot of sketches that she did. Um, she un she disrobes beneath those illusions, was just walking around completely naked under the illusions. Um, and just feels like she's just another Spren, and that's what I am, emotion made carnal. Then she meets up with Vatha to discuss plans over the map of the manor, and discovers that Vatha can lightweave. So yeah, everything you just said.
Yeah,
And like I said, it's finally feeling like a ticking time bomb. Um,
yeah. Yep. Shalom be crazy some more.
and now I know why I was so confused because I scrolled down to my thoughts section and then I didn't scroll back up and I was reading the next.
That's
So,
fine. You
hey,
should have stopped me earlier.
for listeners, you got rehashed twice for this chapter.
Yep.
So, because I completely do not remember what Justin said because I was reading over mine and going, this is not matching up to what he's saying. Um,
There you
so,
go. We get confirmation that other orders can have squires, which is cool.
and not just others, but most. It says most,
Yeah,
and I thought it was just some, but most have squires.
yeah. Well, we know bondsmiths, so I don't know. We'll get to see the next other people. Wonder if Renarin will get some homies to do his thing. Be cool.
Yeah.
He needs some friends besides Bridge 4. Maybe some of Bridge 4 would become truth watchers.
I think some of Bridge 4 are not going to be run runners, but could be wrong.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, we'll get to the actual chapter 78, the Revel. You on your right notes? We get Shallan and Kaladin POV switches again. Uh, doing this a lot now. So Bale, uh, uh, she's going into the meeting point with the cult alone, with food. She has Vatha, and she's like, they're like, you're supposed to come alone. She's like, I don't want to unload all this stuff myself. And then she's like, whatever. And then they grab the food, and then she goes up to the where the Oath Gate is, kind of to embrace the time of the sprint, and all cult members are allowed to enter and partake in the revelry. And we switch to Calton. Uh, he's on the wall, a beard, and he's with his homies on the wall guard. Uh, Azure comes in, and yeah, he's
Invites him to eat.
yeah, invites him to eat.
She was
Um,
inspecting the platoons. So
yeah, and he basically goes up and is gonna go talk to her. Like one of the captains leaves, he like is gonna go talk to her. But he doesn't talk to her yet because it switches back to Shalon. Um, Shalon meets her like guide. Very much a Surfer Dave type thing. If we're
Kakarot.
yes, Kakarot. He's like, your name is Kishi. We just kind of we chill and we eat, and then we have an orgy, and don't go into the inner circle because that's forbidden, and I have to watch you, right? And then like a bunch of people are like passing by, and they all have glassy eyes. They're all like on some hardcore unmade drugs. Um, she tries to go inside, and she's like, "Oh no, you can't go into the thing." And then she like goes into a she's like, I'm so overwhelmed. I need to go into an empty room. She goes in the empty room, and then she he's like, you're just gonna sit there? Like we could be reveling. And he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here. And she gets patterned to like tell him to go get a drink, and he goes to go get a drink, and then she like leaves the illusion of herself sitting there, and then changes herself into
Kishi.
Kishi, and then walks out, and she's looking like part of the rebel. We switch back to Kaladin. Kaladin sits down. He's like, "All right, Azure, I'm gonna start talking to you. Why is nobody being a big deal that you're a woman? Why is this thing?" And she's like, "Well, the officers were like uncomfortable, so they found that solution." And we're like, cool, that's weird. And he like talks to her about her shard blade, why it's just hanging there. It's very weird. And she gets some little coy answers like that. Um, then the wall is under attack before much other stuff. She's intrigued by him. Um, we're gonna have a discussion later, but not right now. Switch back to Shalon. She's in the next ring, and people are like, there's a giant orgy of excess happening. Sodom and Gomorrah in here. Um, there's like rotten food on the tables because nobody cares, and just she's starting to lose herself to the revel, but she's trying. But patterns like humming and breaking through giving her another wisdom save, basically. Uh, and she basically goes into the control building of the Oath Gate, and there's like a giant pulsating black heart covering it, and she freaks out. And then she hears there's a trap from the good unmade, and she's like freaking out, and then she like runs away and she leaps off the platform. And that's the end of the chapter. That was a
Yeah.
lot. That was a lot.
Oh, so what was it? Oh, the inner ring, when I was reading this and it was like describing that the food was rotten on the table, I got kind of so the sense of like in D&D terms, if you go to like the Feywild or you come across Fey in the woods and they have a giant feast, it's all magical. Like so it's not necessarily good food that's sitting there. That's kind of like I got it as an illusion, right? Like when you're in the outer circle, the illusion was upheld, but when you went in, the illusion of the food and everything was like destroyed, and you're actually like seeing like okay, everybody's just really focused on other things other than food. But they're not realizing it. There's no reason to uphold that illusion in the inner circle because these people have graduated. They're beyond a certain point where it doesn't matter that the illusion is upheld or not. Um, that's what I got from that.
I can see
Um,
that. It's very much a like Feywild type thing going on.
yes. I wrote
Well,
what's the familiar voice, but
that's the unmade lady.
okay.
I'm assuming.
And then you didn't mention there was a cultist she passed that was in a white mask that reminded her of Ayatel, but it was a different shape mask. And then prompted me to remember, okay, Ayatel hasn't been seen since trying to kill Amaram
Yeah.
at the end of the first book. Um, so nice little way for Brandon to be like, oh, hey, look, the Ghost Bloods are a thing still. Like, you may have forgotten about them, but which truly I was like, I had kind of was like,
Yeah, I mean, we get them in the interlude.
yeah, we do get them in an interlude and some fun stuff. So,
Yeah.
all right, chapter 79.
Yeah, crazy chapter, just ramping up all the craziness. And it's like really, it's starting to like with all the unmade stuff, like really get into like the weird, crazy Cthulhu monsters instead of like the just kind of more mundane military combat we've had in the other books. It's just kind of ramping up the wild, the crazy in this section, which is fun.
It's like those big, like if it was a video game, it's like, oh, here's your little introduction is all this war. Oh, wait, no, this war was started. The reason for all this conflict was this unmade. Oh, but there's like 8 other ones. Now you got to go save the world from all of those.
Yeah,
Once you do that, then you've got this big bad guy that's at the end.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so we can move on. 79 Echoes of Thunder. Um
Thunder!
Thunder. Kaladin's POV. They're him and Azure going up to the wall. Fuse are flying around attacking everybody. Um you're like tossing out pikes and stuff and they're fighting. Um Kaladin is not summoning Syl or using his powers to like because he's like if I do that they're all gonna swarm me and kill me. I can't really do that. He's fighting a fused. Fused like lashes him and makes him go down the wall basically like fall through all the wall. It's pretty cool. But he's like ha 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 the winds are mine and he's like able to like maneuver around and he's able to like basically like fly out a window and tackle the fuse, and then murk the fuse while it's flying in the air. And turns out that their gem heart's the weak point. So you stab him with a steel knife into the heart, and they fall down. He does like a cool hero 3 point landing. Um, he heals himself, but not enough to attract anything. And yeah, then he kind of reveals himself to Ezra.
Yeah, and that he was, sent by Dalinar and Elhokar to save Kholinar, and she smiles and is like, "Come with me." Um,
It was a cool fight.
yeah, it's short, sweet chapter. Both Kaladin and Azure think the other is hiding who they really are, which they
Huh.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. All
Yeah.
right.
It was a little confusing with him falling and all that stuff, but you kind of get used to it
Well,
now.
yeah, like I just imagine, like for some reason, I imagine the section of the Great Wall of China, and then he got lashed
Yeah.
to the side,
Yeah.
and he had the wherewithal. Oh, I know how to do this for myself, so I'm going to, instead of just being going this way, I'm going to put my feet this direction and go in here, and then orient myself that way.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a good disguise. Like instead of him controlling the direction of his lashings, he just accepted the direction of the lashing and then maneuvered himself as if it was him, which is a
Yeah.
good little disguise.
Yes. It
So
was very, very cool. Chapter 80, Oblivious, Shallan Devar. Um, she is distributing
food.
food,
She visits Grund.
run. Uh, basically, she
He wasn't
finds
there
out.
at first, but
Yeah, she finds out that basically the people she was giving food to was just making a target for thugs that were basically using and abusing them. If they were having to like stay in there where they were to wait for her to give food. Grun dies, gets smashed in his face. Um, and she freaks out and she kind of just crumples the ground in anguish as she meets the woman with her children. They're leaving, and they're like, "Oh, curse her!" And she, but throughout these chapters, uh she's basically been very proud of like saving the people who she could, kind of like getting feeling a purpose in her like theft, where she would be able to help out these refugees, and that turning out to be not a thing that's kind of broken her.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
It's kind of funny. I forgot that Grun was a child. I was like, oh yeah, just because I just I was just an urchin, but I just kind of forgot that when I was reading. I was like, oh yeah, Grun is a kid. All right, yeah, sad.
Yeah, that was sad. So, all right. Well, we can move on to Ithy and her sister.
All right, you got nothing there. All right, cool. Um, yeah. Oh, so 81, Ithy and her sister, as you said. Kaladin, POV. So Kaladin wants to know how she's making food from the soulcasters and not attract anything. She takes him through a secret door that's been there forever and like goes out a secret passageway and she finds two soulcasters. That the actual people, not the device. Ithy and her sister. Ha ha ha. They find out that Wit gave them some metal sheets that would block them from being discovered. Where Wit got them from, I have no fucking clue. Um,
Scadrial,
sure.
obviously, like the world of Mistborn. That's where you probably like, but what I don't know what kind of metal it is.
Yeah, also like when did he do that? I don't know. If he's able to just pop over, like, hey, what's up? Then he's like, all right, we're gonna go get the Oath Gate with the army, so you should come with us and help me out. Basically it.
Yeah. Worth noting here is that Azure says she's had interactions with Wit before
Yeah.
this, so they have met before. Um, how many times I do not know,
Yep.
but that should tell you something. That's it on that chapter.
Yep. Then we have 82, the girl who stood up. Got Shalon Davar. Um, she's still in Miri's habitation, which is that seamstress lady she was helping out. She's like trying to figure out a personality that won't doesn't feel hurt because she's freaking out because she wasn't able to save anybody and got that kid killed. Wit comes and he's like, yeah, failures are part of life, and you kind of gotta kind of get up. And she's like, yeah, she's the whole thing of like I made Veil, but I don't have the experience of being streetwise, so I kind of just screwed up everything. Even though Veil has the persona of being knowing everything, but she actually doesn't have the experience because Shalon doesn't have the experience. Um, then there recreate the story of the girl who looked up that we saw earlier in the book. Um, and
So he was having trouble getting the illusions working, and she helped him
yeah,
in this section and then skipped ahead. She like
yeah.
fast forwarded through this thing to where she's at the top of the wall because he's told this story before. Um,
She doesn't need to get through the preamble.
right.
Um,
Which he was very much wanting to do.
of course, because Wit's crazy. Um, yeah. He's basically like, yeah,
He's trying to get her to forgive herself.
basically, yeah. And like kind of forgive herself and get up and
And if she accepts herself, so like essentially if she can accept herself, then she can control her personas. But if she
Yeah.
can never accept herself, then she's going to forever look for personas to take on that aren't her, but like who she wants to be.
Yeah.
Which makes it like I mean that's a good like I think a whole lot of people do that where they
Because
like
she's
in
insane.
life where they're like they go through some trauma and they're like, okay, I can't be this person because this person is broken, so I have to pretend to be something else.
Yeah.
But
But most people aren't nearly as insane as Shalon.
they also don't have the superpower, so yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah. So hopefully Shalon will forgive herself. And she goes back to the tailor shop as Shalon, not Vale, but she's in Vale's clothing, and Adolin is she thinks she looks really good in Vale's outfit, her like cool um outfit, which is cool. And then basically Kaladin appears with the army, and Azure's like, "What's up? We're here to attack the palace. We're here to storm the castle."
Yeah. I so I really like this chapter as somebody like I'm a very heartfelt loving guy and like want people to um I want people to be able to pursue things and like, progress in life, but also not 100% just logical without emotion. I love people to feel their emotions and explore emotions and mental health, but also try to find that balance between the emotional and the logical side of things here. Um, and so like this chapter I really love because wit, like it seems for some reason most of the time wit seems to be unable to just directly speak, right? He's always cryptic, and this one he's like the least cryptic that I've ever seen him.
Yeah,
Um, and he actually seems to care for Shalon and like want to help her to become better. And so a few of the things that he said in this chapter that I really absolutely love is the first quote was, "I see only one woman here, not all the personas, just one. And it's the one who is standing up, Shalon. That has always been you. You just have to admit it and allow it." He whispered to her, "It's all right to hurt." Um, and then goes on, says, "There are certain things I know, Shalon. This is one of them. You can find the balance, accept the pain, but don't accept that you deserved it." And I think, just a lot of people go through certain traumas and they'll hold on to those traumas and somehow convince themselves that they deserved it. And it's kind of a block to progressing and healing beyond a certain thing. And I really love that Sanderson has written this in here into these characters. I know Sanderson is friends with um, is it Dan Wells? It is Dan Wells the guy that did Hardcore History or
no,
okay. So then Dan Wells is an author friend of Brandon Sanderson that has gone through some like, mental health issues. So he's very aware of it. He likes to write it in here, and I think this is a beautiful representation of that.
yeah, it's good. I still don't like Wit as a character, but it's good here.
Yeah, I just don't know enough. We don't know enough about his motives.
Yeah, I don't really like Wit. Like it's fun when he shows up, but I could literally do without him unless he like I don't know. He just seems like an Easter egg that just appears. But I mean, this was a really good chapter with Shalon's character development and stuff. Hopefully, she's not quite as insane as she is. She'll heal a little bit. Um, But yeah, it's good. But yeah, I mean, Wit. I don't know. I like Wit is cool, but he just never. He just shows up and like says stuff and then disappears. And it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more active in this part, which is good, but like I don't know, it's fine.
Well, whenever Dragon Steel is written, then we will have Wit's origin story.
Yeah, but if we have Wit's point of view and just talks like this for an entire book, I will not like it. Just
Well,
all pretentious.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's the same here, but two books, two of the secret project books are Wit's point of view
Hmm.
or Hoyd's point of view. That's Tress of the Emerald Sea and Yumi and the Night. Well, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, there is some of it, but it's not his necessarily his POV. I think he's the narrator, but there's a lot of good Hoyd stuff in those two books. But
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
this chapter really reinforces that the girl who looked up is has to be the damn allegory of the cave. Because they go out, she goes out of the city, she has all this knowledge and brings it back. And then he talks about, well, once you have the knowledge, would you want to go back to not having the knowledge? It's no.
yeah,
The answer is no, even if it breaks you. It's like, no, progress. It's progress. So
yeah. But yeah, good stuff. Good character development. Hopefully Shallan will be able to be herself and not have split personalities and want to kill and consume people she transforms into, like she almost did with that one lady, because she was starting to go bonkers.
yeah.
And
Right.
so 83 Crimson to Break. This is Aelin POV. He he talks to Shardblade and he's like, I don't have all my normal rituals, but I have you, and that's all I really needed. Um, hopefully you'll talk back to me in the Continental Realm next part, but we'll see. Um, so they're discussing the assault plans on the palace. So
He also thinks that Shallan looks amazing in the trousers and vest.
she does. I'm guessing it makes her booty look good. Yes.
And Elokar is like, sure, thank you. And I guess I won't hang you. She's
Yeah.
like, thanks.
Yeah, he did kind of like usurp and be a like a random High Lord that doesn't exist, and you kind of usurp power, but we're cool. Um, so they discuss like the plans. They're gonna like basically go through the site, which is gonna be less defended and not much crazy. And then like the Windrunners are gonna try to like um get his family out in case stuff happens. Um, they relive it. They go to the palace. They see this like Attack on Titan esque giant crab thing peer over the walls. Is very Attack on Titan. Um, Seemed to be made out of like
I don't think it was a crab. It was just like the.
Well, it had claws.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but it wasn't. It's not. It's stone, but it's like it seemed to have claws. Anyway, guessing probably like a thunderclass or something cool.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Like the thing that they talked about in the prelude.
Yeah. But basically the walls are gonna fall really, really easily because that's a giant fucking Titan, basically. Very much first
Attack
episode
on
of,
Titan.
of Attack on Titan. Very cool. They're like, oh shit, we better hurry up. Things are going to go bad. So yeah, basically Kaladin and them are like they could go all up into the skies to fight the fuse. Adolin and Azur and Elokar are going with their army. They like fight a bunch. They have some cool stuff like Adolin like cuts holes in walls for like more entrances into the palace. Very cool. They're fighting. You get a lot of like descriptions of how to fight with a shard blade. So, and they don't have their plate, so it's dangerous, but they're able to like do some stuff, and you get more stuff of like how the guards are weird. They're like they cry out a little bit, but like otherwise they don't make like no sounds. Um, they like basically they get a beachhead through the palace. They find some trader guards that and they let them out and are gonna have them uh
They've been in there for weeks.
yeah. Well,
I guess they got fed, but
then he says like no, it's only been a couple of days, so I don't know if they recently got imprisoned or not. It seemed that was a little weird. Um,
they said the beards were unkempt and stuff. So like,
yeah, it was weird. I don't know.
I would
Um,
think they wouldn't feed them, but I mean, you can't survive 2 weeks without food or water. So
yeah, I don't know if they're getting sustained by a mate or something. I don't know.
I really did like the description of the shield flanking. I read it a couple times to fully understand it. I guess like you got one person in the front going like this, and then you got like at least two people angling a shield on the back. So as they go through, anybody that the shard bearer doesn't kill on the side doesn't just stab them right in the back.
yeah, he's getting yeah, protective formation basically to stop him from getting flanked, which is cool. Let's see. Yeah, we're still on 43. Yeah, bunch of fighting, a lot of cool stuff. They're going up towards where the Oath Gate is. Uh, they basically reach the Unmade, and Shallan's gonna do her thing. It's kind of chapter.
Yeah, so like Kaladin, let's see, Kaladin, Shallan, Skardra, he busts through the doors from the Eastern Gallery. Shallan had used decoys. This was Adolin's POV, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So the four of them bust in, and like we know the Windrunners are up in the sky, distracting the fused. Shallan ended up using decoys to make it look like the fused killed them, um, which made them fly off, and now Bridge 4 can come in. Um, Kaladin suggests that Azure take the guards and hold the Sunwalk. And then Elokar makes his way to the royal chambers, and Kaladin's going to accompany him while Scar and Drahi go with Shallan with Adolin as well to confront the Unmade.
yeah,
Um, and then they make it into the control room.
yep. Yeah,
And
bunch of cool.
here,
Yeah,
um, I made some notes. So interestingly enough, a lot of them are about Azure. Um, and so if you've well, Azure stabbed an enemy soldier who tried to push through. Remarkably, his eyes didn't burn, though his skin did go a strange ashen gray as he died. Um, and curiously, Azure had removed her cloak and wrapped it around her left arm. Adolin had never seen anything like it. Perhaps she was accustomed to fighting in plate.
yeah,
Um, and then, of course, the chapter title, when think about it, it's like so Azure says that's going to be Crimson to Break. Uh, I took that as meaning blood will be spilled.
yeah. It's basically like they're in a very defensible position. The royal guards are. So it's just gonna take basically slamming people into the thing to break it, which costs a lot of casualties.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of cool fighting, a lot of cool stuff. Um, it I didn't really want to recap all the different things, but when you read it, it all makes sense. Everything flows well.
Yeah.
Uh, this whole entire Sanderlanche here is really well done. Very cool.
Yeah, they and before we move on,
Yeah.
just Azure, like the quotes I gave, I've got Cosmere related theories to this. So if you read some of the other books, um, this is mainly for listeners, but for you too, if you've read some of the
Yeah, I
other books, you
assume
might
she's
do
from
that.
somewhere or something.
Yeah.
She has not a shard blade though, which is fun.
And there is another sword that we've met in this series that I think is along the same lines of the sword that she has, um, which is interesting if you know more about the other sword.
Yeah,
Um,
Seth's sword, I'm guessing.
yeah, Seth's new sword. Yeah. So I believe those are the same type of swords.
Ooh. Maybe this one can talk too.
Yeah. I mean, shard blades can talk.
No, not if they're dead.
You don't know that.
True. All right. Yeah, cool stuff. Azure is interesting. And we will find out more because she's in the Cognitive realm with our friends at the end of this. So 84. Let's push through. We're actually
Hey,
making
we're almost through with the main
no.
chapters.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy.
The interludes are small too, so
Yeah, they are. A lot of them are just like, why? 84. The one you can save. We got Kaladin, we got Shallan, we got a lot of crazy stuff. So, like you said, Elhokar is going up to see the Queen and his son. Kaladin's there. They're going around. They're trying to do. They're fighting people. They hear a singing. They're like, oh, the Queen's there. They go to the Queen. Actually, they're not fighting people. The soldiers are kind of just letting them pass. All right. Sorry, that happens later. There's a lot of fighting, but not right now.
I'm laughing because I understand trying to describe things and go, oh wait, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, it happens later. Shallan, she's going to the heart. She slashes it with a sharp blade, and she's like, "Oh no, I gotta touch it again." She touches it again, has no effect, and she's like, "What?" And she touches it, and something happens, but not right now because there's a lot of POV switches. Switches back to Kaladin. Kaladin, the queen she's like, what's up, Elhokar? You're back." He's acting all weird. Um, and then Kaladin finds his son, and then Elhokar's like, "You should like come away with us. Crazy stuff's happening." And she's like, no. Guess what? I succeeded where Gavilar failed. I bonded a spren." And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "I am more powerful with my radiance." Rah. She gets a deep voice. She doesn't get a deep voice, but she goes crazy. She has a gem heart embedded in her. She's
Her
like,
eyes glow
her
red.
eyes glow red. She turns all crazy. She is a demon lady. Um, she has her radiance, or the soldiers, except they don't have any powers, so it's really weird. But she is bonded a unmade, which is not the rebels, but the other one. And the soldiers attack. She's like, "Maha, I'm evil." They have their son. They have the son. Shallan.
So would that make three unmade in the
Yeah,
area?
there's three unmade. There's there's a
Heart of the Rebel,
Heart of the Rebel,
Shah,
Shana, and then there's the one that sucks to Shallan, which is Shana. So the other one. There's three.
okay. I
Um,
missed that. But okay. I mean, I know she bonded something. Like she has a gem heart that
yeah,
has a sprint in it, and she's connected to that gem heart.
yeah. Which I'm guessing is one of those. We don't. I do we see a description of it? But I think it's one of those black balls that Kevlar had. So Shallan is in there. She's trying to do stuff with the Spren, and she's like, can't really do much. And then she's like trying to. She's like, I need help. I can't do anything. And then the unmade goes away. And she's like, what the hell? I didn't do anything. But Adolin's like, you did it. Good job. We need to like activate the Oath Gate and like bring back the army. And Kaladin's messing people up. He's fighting with the people with the Queen's Guard, basically. And then he hears Parshendi singing because the Parshendi are like the fastest troops in the world, and they somehow storm the palace in like 2 seconds. Um, which is true. They get there real fast. Um, but I guess if you have a giant thunderclap break down the walls, it wouldn't take that long. Then we switch back to Shallan. So we have Saj Anat. Insists that she's not Shallan's enemy, and she's no longer of Odium, and she wants to help. Um, she's also the one that was messing with Spren, connecting with the Oathgate. So she does the Oathgate is a trap. If you activate it, something crazy is gonna happen. Um, then we switch back to Kaladin. Kaladin's freaking out. He's like, "Oh no, my worldview is shattered. Both my friends are fighting each other." And a
He's
bunch of
literally
people,
like, stop killing each other, and everybody's
"No."
just like,
Yeah, like basically everybody dies. Like all of his wall guard people die, all of his Pershindi people die. It's very bad. Elhokar dies. He gets killed by Moash. It's very cool. He gets like
but
stabbed. He gets stabbed through the heart with a pike, and then like stabbed in the face.
don't skip over the fact that he was holding a piece of paper,
Yeah,
speaking the words of the first ideal, and Kaladin was like, do it. He could hear Moash talking, and
he's
he's
hold.
encouraging to continue and to get it done. And right before he finishes the last line of the first ideal, fucking Moash
Yeah, Moash kills him.
comes in and is like,
Murks him.
oh, I have a second chance at this?
Yep.
And
Uh,
fucking murks the
yeah,
guy.
he's looking at the drawing that Shallan made of him. It's very sad. He gets murked, gets hit through the eye, just like Sadius. Um, so yeah, Elgar's dead. The son gets taken away by the guards. Moash gives him the bridge force loot, which is pretty baller. The queen arrives. She's like black smoke. She's all crazy. Ta-da! And then Drehi and Scar come and like take Kaladin away. Very cool chapter.
Okay, so yeah, I wrote, holy fuck, this was a crazy scene.
Yeah.
And it is like, God, if this was the if this isn't even the end of the book, but if this was a climax in anybody's book, I'd be like, oh crap, like, all right, um, all right.
Yeah.
The Sprin that Aesudan has bonded with the thing that Jim Hart is named Yelignar.
That's
So we don't know much about that yet.
that is definitely an unmade.
Yeah, could be. Um, but I mean, it doesn't have to be because what, Demid or whatever, he's not an unmade, but he has a name.
Um,
Demid is the void spren that Vinley that told Vinley how to uncover the
Yeah, but she's like able to make radiance and control people's minds and shit. I don't know. It seems very unmade, but maybe not. It's possible not.
I just assumed that the other guards were also affected by the revel. Like,
But they're different from the rebel.
okay,
So
maybe we'll see.
maybe they're being controlled by Shahzanat or whatever. So it could just be one or two, but it could be I don't know.
I don't
But
know. I mean,
didn't the queen say she bonded an unmade when he
I
was
don't
talking?
I don't know if she said she bonded an unmade. She said she bonded a spren. She said she succeeded where Gavilar failed. She
Yeah,
bonded a spren.
oh, bound is okay. For some reason, I thought she said unmade. I guess not.
Yeah, she said Aesudan says she continued Gavilar's work, discovered the secret ancient spren. She discovered the secret ancient spren and how to bond spren. So it doesn't necessarily say she discovered how to bond the ancient spren, but you may be right. I'm not saying you're wrong,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Just the way it transformed her and stuff, which I mean, just seems more powerful than an ancient than a regular sprint. But
I could say with certainty she bonded a spren.
yeah,
I cannot say with certainty she bonded an unmade.
yeah,
But I'm not ruling it out. But I truly feel there were only two unmade in this area. But
Yeah.
I also feel that Aesudan's condition reminded me of Luz Theron's in the prologue of Eye of the World, where it was just like she became crazy and didn't fully understand like the chaos she was.
Yeah. She has wreathed in black smoke. Do you think she got one of the remember there was like a smoke form and
There's a smoke form, yeah.
so maybe she's like a fused.
Yeah, she might have bonded one of the fused, which I don't think are unmade.
Yeah, they're not made. So maybe she's a smoke form.
Yeah.
That's why she's like growing carapace and shit.
Yeah,
And
that was
that's
crazy, man.
that's also why
Carapace
she
coming out.
yeah, that's also why she's insane. If the fuse maybe the fused instead of taking over human minds, they like meld almost, and she's like gets all crazy. That'd be cool. I don't know. I want more of that.
But
Wonder,
also, if you think about back to that interlude, that last interlude, so we know Leshwi was one, right? One of the fused. But
yeah,
then that, hold on. But then I'm making unmade versus fused comparisons. But
yeah, the unmade are different. There's like a billion
yeah,
fused.
yeah. Okay, never mind then. All right, we can move on if you want.
Yeah,
I mean, that was an awesome chapter, but there's
awesome
not
chapter.
much to talk.
Moash guy's revenge, which is good for him. Curious to see how what he does after he got his revenge. See if he how he changes. Um,
Fuck Moash.
Good on you, Elokar. You tried, but you failed because you weren't as cool as Moash.
I liked Elokar at the end.
I like two, but I like Moash. Curious to see what's gonna happen with him.
It's because you're evil.
Not evil.
You're evil, Justin.
How am I evil?
You're a Moash apologist.
Just like Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's a certain point of view I did not like. I'm not evil in a certain point of view.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, I don't know if Moash isn't evil.
Okay.
He's not. He's overthrowing a corrupt government that he thinks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We
He's
will
not.
grieve later
We
then.
will grieve later. This is a Shallan and Adolin. Adolin is like, oh, holy shit, Elgar's dead. And they don't get a shard blade, which is sad. Um, so they're just losing shards all over the place, which is curious who's gonna get that. But yeah, they're like they're holding off the enemy. They're they're out on the platform of the Oath Gate. He looks over, sees basically the city is fallen. They're like, even if they summon the army, it would be a bad idea. Their position is untenable. So he makes the decision to basically we're gonna retreat. We're gonna go back to Earthuru, and he's like, Shalom, activate, activate it. We must escape. She's hesitating because basically Saj Anat is telling her that it's a trap in Admiral Akbar's voice. And she's like, probably is because the unmade fled really easily. Um so she's like, all right. I mean, I gotta do it because we have no other really options. Because Kaladin and the Roamrunners can't really take them away because they just get hit by the fuse. So they're pretty screwed. They kind of have to do this. And Shazanat is like, all right, I'm gonna try not to kill you, and she activates the Oathgate.
Yeah, I think it's interesting here what Shah Not says. She's like, she tells Shallan, I will not give my children a home, not yet, and promises to try not to kill them. So whatever that means, I'm guessing, I mean, Shah Anat has Sprin of her own. Um, like kind of like Honor has Sprin of his own.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, obviously I wrote here so it's rigged to make evil Spren bond to people, but that's not what happened. whenever they went through the Oath Gate. So
I
huh.
I kind of assumed it was gonna like telefrag them or something. Just like kill everybody on the Oathgate.
Yeah, it seems odd that it sent them to Shadesmar.
I think that's what Shazanat did.
Yeah.
That's how she was able to save them. And probably everyone else is probably dead, which is sad because there's a lot of people there.
Yeah. Well,
They probably got teleported. I'm guessing it's probably because they had their sprints or something, and whatever Azure has was able to like shut them into the cognitive realm instead. That's what I'm guessing.
makes
Yeah,
sense. Because
yeah,
there's what, three and four? There are four people?
yeah.
Four people they got through?
It was the main dudes. Well, Adelyn's there too, and he doesn't. Unless you count his shard blade. So yeah, maybe she was able to use the sprint of the shard blade to like shunt
What
him in.
what about Scar and Drahe? Do we know their fate?
They're not. Yeah, they're not there. They don't have they don't have sprint, so they're wherever she
The
sent the
other
rest
people
of the
are.
yeah. So hopefully they didn't get
Maybe rest in peace.
yeah, hopefully they didn't get telefrag. That would suck.
Maybe rest in peace, Scar and Drahe. You were honorable.
Yes. And for the listeners out there, telefrag is a thing that used to happen in old school first person shooters where you would respawn and you would respawn onto people and they would explode. It was called telefragging.
Yeah, so if you died and you respawned and you didn't move off the spawn point and somebody else died and respawned on that point, you're instant dead.
Yeah. Happened in like old school Quake and stuff like that.
Quake 2. Oh man, Quake 2, I had so much fun with Quake 2.
Oh yeah, it was great. Yes.
Chapter 86.
86.
Jesus, man, 86 chapters. All right.
Yeah, it's like 120 something or something crazy. What's crazy is as big as this book is, book 5 is like way longer. I'm like, how? This is
Book 4
insane.
is longer too.
That's crazy. I haven't looked at book 4.
He can't keep getting away with this.
No. All right.
Before Breaking Bad.
Yes. 86. The others may stand. This is a pretty short downer chapter. He is basically waiting news from Kolinar, and he's recovering. He's basically dealing with the memories of what he did to the Rift and killing his wife and all that stuff. He's kind of freaking out, and he understands now why he kind of went to get his memories erased, because the guilt of all that is crushing. But he's like, I'm gonna deal with that later. We got to rescue Kolinar, and there's been 4 hours since the last communication, and nothing's happened. And then they get a communication that the city has fallen, and everything's bad. And that's kind of
Yeah. I like some of this talk. I didn't write who said this, but it says, would Dallin, I assume it's the Stormfather. Would Dalinar lose his bond now in exchange for making the Stormfather increasingly aware of human morality? And so,
yeah,
like, basically, the Stormfather is like, well, you know what? Shit happens. And Dalinar is like, wait, what? Uh, but
yeah,
then when Dalinar goes inside to talk to the Taravangian, he asks, he says, ever realize that you aren't the person people think you are? And Taravangian says, more daunting, however, are similar moments when I realize I'm not the man I think of myself as being. Which we know because
yeah.
of his duality of
Just
from
true.
the thing. He it means something different to him than it would for Dalinar trying to understand. Like, oh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yes. Yeah. Good stuff. We also see that Taravangian met with Aesir people because well Dalinar was away, so Aesir is getting involved, which is good.
yeah,
Um, Curious to see how Dalinar is going to deal with this information and move forward. him and Shallan need to forgive themselves somehow.
Yeah.
Uh, chapter 87. We're here.
It's the last regular chapter.
Crazy. This place. Adolin Cohen POV. Um, Adolin, they basically appear in Shadesmar. He falls into the marbles. He gets rescued by Azur. Um, he sees basically sees all the Spren in their Shadesmar forms, which is cool. Um, and then Azure says that she hates this place, so Azure has been into Shadesmar, which is
Yeah, she's
fun.
been here before.
Yeah.
But yeah, the descriptions are fun. So the pattern is a creature in a stiff black costume with a robe that seemed somehow to be made of stone. In place of its head was a shifting, changing ball of lines, angles, and impossible dimensions. Obviously,
Yeah.
pattern.
And I like how he talks. Like he talks normal, and this she's like, "Oh, this is very bad." He's just kind of like talking.
Uh, a young woman with blue-white skin, pale as snow, wearing a filmy dress that rippled in the wind. And then he also sees, and this is Adrian's point of view, so he also sees a person with ashen brown features that seem to be made of tight cords, the thickness of hair. She wore ragged clothing and her eyes had been scratched out like a canvas that someone had taken a knife to.
That
That seems like a cultivation spren, like it would belong to an edge dancer.
is this isn't the okay. It's probably not, but they're like in two things from now, a person kills a painting and with a knife.
It reminds me of that too, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that
When
would
I
be
reread
connected.
that, when I just
Yeah,
read that, I thought of that too. I was like,
yeah, that's really weird. I don't know why that would be,
no. But
but
Mem says it's but she just takes a knife to the painting.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, fun. I'm glad we got more people in Shadesmar and we get to see more Shadesmar and I'm excited.
yeah. But also, if the canvas like someone had taken a knife to, maybe this was a light weaver's blade that time. That'd be cool too.
Yeah, but just the description of like tight cords, the thickness of hair. I think of Wendell
Yeah,
being vines like.
yeah, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. All right, interludes.
Also, eyes being scratched out maybe has something to do with that one thing from long ago when they're uh cutting paintings up.
Oh yeah, that too.
That will never come back. Um I7, we got Envoy, we got Vinley, um
Envoy.
Envoy, whatever. It's the same thing. Vinley, she is talking to people. She's now basically propaganda for Odium, telling about the listeners.
She is an envoy. We finally find out what form she took after the other mishap, and it's envoy form.
Yeah,
Basically, it gives her high charisma.
yeah. Um, she's telling them about all the things, but it's very sanitized. Yeah, she doesn't really like it. She sees like scholar forms and stuff, and she's like, these people didn't have to work for it. We tried so hard for all these forms, and they just have them. Um, so yeah, she also like they still have like Alethi customs and stuff, so they're like not her people, and she's feeling very like alienated. She's like, I'm all alone now because all my listeners are dead, and she's really sad.
And they're no longer referred to as listeners, but singers.
Singers, yes, yes. And they're gonna look out for any humans that are manifesting surge bindings and murder them. Uh, and then she goes back. She sees the little spren that she's been keeping hidden.
Pulsing.
Yes. She when it's there, she can attune to the old rhythms, and
And it doesn't necessarily speak, it just pulses to certain rhythms and goes back and forth to kind of give her the idea of what it's requesting.
yeah,
We don't necessarily see it in this one, but a further chapter we do.
yeah,
Um,
uh, yeah, good stuff.
yeah, I think it's interesting here that Ryan, one of the few that talks to her, um, he talks about how humans can bond Spren without a gem heart, and that their bond is even stronger than the Singers' bond with Sprens. So I'm I really am curious, like this idea of bonding and how it happens and why.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense because the singers can change spren. Well, humans, as far as we know, cannot change spren.
So the fact that they can't change Spren makes their bond
Like,
even
yeah,
stronger.
yeah, because they're like permanent.
Yeah.
Well, they can just like go in a storm and get a new spren, or maybe not even need a storm. I don't know.
Yeah, and so here's a theory. This other Spren, I do not think it's of Odium
Yeah, I think this.
necessarily. It could be of Sha-Anat,
Mm,
or something else, but definitely not of Odium.
yeah, because we know that they would kill it if they saw it.
Yeah. And I think Vinley might become the first being to bond Spren in both ways. Have one in their gym heart and have one through and I don't know if they call the bond with the gym heart a Nile bond. But I wrote here bond through gym heart and bond through the Nile bond. Uh,
Yeah, it seems pretty um evident that she's gonna become like a radiant or something.
yeah.
They're setting her up for like a redemption arc, like Zuko
Zuko?
from Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
Or Moash. Her and Moash are gonna redeem each other.
No, she's gonna kill Moash.
Maybe.
Fuck Moash. Like,
Why do you hate Moash so much?
I don't like him.
Fair enough. All right, we get
Yeah.
interlude 8, Mim. Uh Mim is a laundry person for Marays. She has a like assistant Palm. Uh she's like really good at washing clothes. Um they're going through Marays' stuff. Palm destroys a painting of a herald with a knife. And then she's I'm guessing a herald and wakes up. And Marays is there and like we're gonna do stuff. That's kind of
Yeah, I don't think she's a herald. Um, all right. She seems to know Mraize and calls him Ancient One and offers him a drink. And whenever I think of offering a drink and it's something that's not that this is obviously Cosmere mixed, right? This 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 isn't necessarily like some of the other chapters are obviously okay, this is on Roshar. This is Roshar stuff. This is more Cosmere because we know Murray is involved with the Ghost Bloods, and the Ghost Bloods are not 100% Roshar.
yeah.
And whenever I think someone offering a drink, I think of Mistborn type stuff. But um,
But she wants to know where Tanlet is. I think she's a herald. I really do.
so he tells her where Telenat is and that his Babsk has been wanting to speak to her.
Yeah.
And then he's amazed that Mem got the Aether out of his trousers and then gives her or sorry, is amazed that Mim got the Aether out of his trousers, gives her a 3 fire mark bonus, and tells her that she needs to find a new wash girl.
Yeah.
So Palm is, man, I think Palm is a world hopper and a not a herald.
I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say that she is Ash, but we'll see.
She's what?
Ash.
You think she's Ash? You think
Mm-hmm.
Palm is Ash?
Mm-hmm. Because she like destroyed a thing of herself and regained consciousness or something. I don't know. Just seems like she killed a thing with the Herald and like regained herself. I don't know.
I'm
And
gonna
she,
write this. Justin thinks Palm is Ash.
yeah,
I'm gonna go back and reread this and see if that makes any more sense.
yeah.
Interlude 9,
Oil.
Oil Sworn.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but whatever.
That's
It's a picture.
well, no, Oil Sworn is a a painter that there was a book that Helleran had given Shallan of paintings by Oil Sworn
Hmm.
to help her learn how to sketch back in the day. He's like a
Yeah,
an artist, like
yeah,
Da Vinci or Michelangelo.
mm, yeah. And this makes me think that maybe that girl that was. I'm gonna keep going back to the girl that was slashing paintings that will never come up again. But maybe she was trying to like awaken this Herald by slashing the paintings. Because there's something. I don't know. That's my idea. I don't know if it's probably not true, but we'll see. Um, I9, true labor begins. Vinley. Vinley is being carried to Kolinar. She sees it's kind of the destruction's over, the battle's over. She's like, she's all sad about Eshonai and stuff. She lands and they're like, the true work's gonna begin. You have to proclamate to the masses now. That was just practice. And she's like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, this is not much here, but
No,
Vinley is always thinking of Eshonai, and it's basically her connection to her humanity. Like
yes,
it's Eshonai's memory to Vinley is what's going to present her redemption arc.
yeah. And I wonder if we're ever gonna meet the the listeners that escaped being turned into storm form. Hopefully they'll show up with their mom and stuff is there. So I doubt they're dead. Thought they kill all of them off screen. So hopefully they come back and like that's how why she finally bonds the little pulse light to become a herald or whatever a hybrid that would be. But yeah, uh, tiny little thing. It could have been in the next section as well. Um, Interlude 10, Shalier. This is a light-eyed dude. He's in the borders of Hardays and Alethkar. Apparently, he like raped a girl or whatever. He gets killed. I don't know. It was nothing.
Was this giant from the water? Do you remember that? Well, there was an interlude where it's like, hey, if you get caught in this place,
Yeah, I don't think it was Hardaysy. It was Sigil said something about it, and it was like it was why the bridgemen would keep fighting just for the hope of being released. That the criminals would take the 7 days or whatever, but they would all die at the end. I don't know. Like I don't
it
understand
felt
this.
eerily similar to that.
Yeah, it did. Um, I don't understand why this exists, but whatever. It's very short. Um, Interlude 11, her reward. Vinley is in a storm shelter. Uh, she's re-saying the speech a bunch of times every day. She's not allowed to leave. Um, she's wondering if she can like bump up and to be a fused and get more power. Then there's a little light thing she names Timber. Uh, she's like, you got the wrong person. Basically, I wanted power. I kind of started this whole thing. You should have gotten Eshni. The wrong sister died. The wrong sister lived. Very sad. Um, yeah. Oh, well, also Odium comes is like, you're doing a bad job. Do better. She's like, okay.
And I forgot I wrote this, but I said obviously I already mentioned that she has to become a radiant of some sort. And I wrote here, I wonder if she might become the bondsmith for Odium.
That'd be cool.
It would make sense.
But
Like she would control him.
but she can't because she needs to get timber. She has to bond that, or else what's the point of this little thing? Like I don't know.
Unless true. But unless Timber is somehow Eshonai.
Yeah, maybe Eshonai's Spren because they have gem hearts. They have Spren, so it could be. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd be like a new order of Radiant, which would be pretty badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Uh, so much stuff. But we get to part 4, Defy Sing Beginnings. Get a bunch of POVs. Adolin, Shallan, Kaladin, Dalinar, Navani, Seth. Oh, we get some Seth. Been a while. Taravangian and Vinley. So we get a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not as long, but it is still pretty a pretty hefty.
yeah. We won't get Elikar's POV anymore because he's dead. Mwahaha. No more Ashblade POV, which is kind of sad.
That's that 8 different POVs.
Yeah.
It's good to be seeing Seth again.
Yeah. And he should be a full Skybreaker. Or at least on his way. I wonder if he's gonna have a sprint already, or if that's gonna be what he does this part.
Yeah.
Navani, I wonder what she's gonna be doing.
We're 67% of the way through the book.
Insane.
It's good stuff though.
It is good. It's just so it's
I was
long.
telling my wife the other day, it's like, okay, look, these are long ass books, but a lot of people that love to read, a common thing is, man, I wish there were more of this.
Yeah.
But whenever it's a book that's that big, they're like, no, it's too big. I don't want to read it. But if it was like 15 300-page books, they'd be like, all right, give it to me.
I'll say this. I think he's figured out better how to pace these books. Because like Way of Kings is by far the slowest and more arduous to read through. And then like Words of Radiance is like just things keep on happening, ramping up. And then you have like this one where like things are happening, like it's a little slow at the beginning and stuff, but then we get basically a climax in part 3, and we have 2 more parts left. So he's able, and so it's not just like, all right, I have to read freaking 900 pages to get to the climax, like in Way of Kings. So he's very much like pacing it better, so it doesn't feel as long.
I don't know, like part 1, the pacing in this book was kind of
It was
off.
slow. It was slow, yeah.
Part 2 was awesome. Part 3, it started off extremely slow.
Yeah, but at least we were learning new things. Like we were in a different area and we were learning stuff.
True. It felt so part 3 as a whole felt like book 1.
I didn't feel it. Man, I'm not saying you're wrong. I didn't feel it because I felt like the ramp up start happening and like things was happening. Like Shalom was dying every other chapter and stuff like that. So at least like things were happening. We're getting down our flashbacks. There's a lot of action in this. So it wasn't just like, all right, we're gonna listen to Yasna and Shalom talk about philosophy for 3 chapters or whatever, or like, oh, we're gonna go on another bridge run. oh my god, nothing's happening. At least like it was like forward momentum. There was also like side quests. So things were progressing even if it was slow. Even if it was like, all right, we're gonna listen to Kaladin talk to his new bridge mates some more and stuff like that. But at least there was like, oh, he's ingratiating himself to learn about the mystery of Azure. So like there was stuff progressing, which is why I think the pacing in like book one felt very off because there was not really any progress being made. It was just like Kaladin's depressed. Oh, he's a little less depressed. He gets depressed again. Oh, he makes friends with Bridgeforth.
Yeah, you're right. I'll concede, but
No, but like
it still felt after having part two be so like just consistent, like
yeah,
action. Part three ended up being like,
it was definitely slower because we had to introduce all these different like the cult and all this other weird stuff. So it was definitely slower, but for me, it didn't feel slow because I was like, what the hell is going on? That kind of mystery propelled me through it. But it definitely wasn't as exciting at the beginning than like part two.
no. All right. Well,
Yeah.
that was a good conversation. I'm glad it didn't take 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
We were able to speed through some of the things.
Yeah, definitely tried.
Yeah, no, we did great. It was a huge section, and I didn't want to break it up. Um, so um, yeah, obviously, if you've made it this far, um, congratulations and thank you.
Yeah,
I
the
hope,
next section is not nearly as long.
yeah, not quite as long. On the ebook, it's 240 pages versus 290. That book part three was. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. I hope y'all are having fun. Um, maybe we've posed some questions or theories that you may not have, or we've reinforced some that you have gotten. So if you enjoy these conversations and having something to hopefully help you understand the story a little bit more and enjoy it more, um, and click like, follow, share, leave a rating or review wherever possible. It helps get exposure so that more people can, and then maybe that encourages us to do this for many, many more years. We'll see. I enjoy this. It helps me continue to read more, which I love to do.
Yeah,
But sometimes life gets in the way, and then I take a month off, but that month might become 6 months off of reading and might end up being 2 years off of reading, and get back to it. So um, we appreciate everybody that listens. We don't have too much engagement, but hey, you know, we just do this because we like it. Um,
exactly.
Visit our sponsor, Mudcat Whiskers, the website www.mudcatwhiskers.com. Use code paperweights at checkout to save yourself 15%. And we will be back next week to cover part 4 of Oathbringer. Well, see y'all next
Uh,
week.